notice that.
There's not a lot of gorillas, but we got a lot of beer cats.
Well, I don't think Pitt State has the highest graduation.
Not very nice, but I will say this, and I'd like to start with ripping on Drew Nixon.
That's always a good way to kick
It's a great way to start a show. Drew, I got a bone to pick with you. I discussed this with Logan earlier, too. So we're sitting there. You get up and say, you got to go. I was like, okay, where are you going? He says, I'm going to get my Code Red Mountain Dew. I was like, okay, I love Mountain Dew. It's my favorite thing in the world, by the way. And they changed labels, by the way. Did you know this, Drew? It now says Mountain. They spell out Mountain instead of MTN. So it's not the whole new age, ROTFL, LOL. It's spell out the word Mountain. So you leave. You looked at Logan, you looked at me, and you never offered, hey, guys, can I get you something? Do you mind if I get you something at Quick Trip? You didn't offer. I guess you're not a team player.
You didn't ask.
Character concern. Well, you didn't offer. Character concerns are high with you. My guess is if we gave you cash, you're probably using a credit card because no kid your age carries cash. You just don't do it.
Dead serious. I have cash right now in my wallet.
I'm shocked. But you did not offer Logan one thing or me. I was pretty upset by it, actually.
I could have taken a handful of some buffalo chicken bites for sure.
I would have done
the old
How
QT.
much is that?
Good breakfast biscuit. Dusty Lycan sitting right behind you. Dusty would have asked. Dusty always asked.
Of all the things to ask for, you're asking for something that's like $7.50 at Quick Trip.
We're going to give you the money.
Buffalo
Dusty
chicken bites are like
asked.
$2.99 for the first one, and then they're like $1 a piece after that.
First of
and
all,
they're absolute gas.
I'm not. Could I have offered? Sure, but you didn't ask. If you'd asked, it would have been fine. I just said sure.
Do we have to ask, though? It's just something around the station, Drew. Around the station, back when we were 610 Sports, back in the day, right? People like Dustman here, and I did, and Vern, whatever. Hey, can I get you something at Quick Trip?
Bink,
we all offered. It was something we did here. But nowadays, I guess things are different.
Bink, I have gone to the gas station before when I have worked with you, and you have asked me plenty of times, can I get you some chew? Can you get me a Mountain Dew?
Which is funny because a lot of you guys buy your first can of chew with me around.
Yes, I went and I bought a can. Yes, I went and I purchased a can of chew that I was not intending to use at all whatsoever.
Alex Gold had to do it too one day.
Yes.
Drew, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No,
I'm not giving you a hard time. I thought it was pretty rude.
I think Bink feels more strongly about this than
Evidently
I do.
so, because you brought it up. That's the first thing. We didn't even get into the show at all.
No, we didn't, because I wanted to address the issue at hand. You sit back there. You're a big Cody Gold guy. You would probably ask those guys, hey, Cody, what can I grab you? Hey, Gold, what's up, man? What can I get you at Quick Trip?
Traditionally, no, I don't ask. But if you want something and you say, "Hey, do you mind getting this for me?" I have no problem doing it. I don't. Right. I just,
Do you mind going now?
If you guys can survive for 15 minutes, I'm not sure Spec would approve. But
I think that's a bad idea.
If you guys can survive for 10 minutes, then
Logan can do everything. Logan can run the board. He can do everything.
You want me to just run back and forth?
Yeah, because Logan's the man. He can do everything.
Well, no, I wouldn't have you guys do. We have our segments are the way that our show works. I'd have enough time to run on over there. Why you?
All right.
As he just cracks open his Red
say,
Bull,
right.
so he obviously.
I cracked my Red Bull. You got your Mountain Dew. Let me tell you this. How's this sound?
Lead at first, in comes the pitch. Jammed him in a high pop-up on the infield, and it's off the glove of the second baseman. They're going to throw the ball to second wildly. They had a forced play there. And here you go. The White Sox are on the verge of burping up this game. It's the old story, folks. He squares to Bond. He gets it down. How are they going to mess this one up? No throw. Boozer picked it up, had no play. And the bases are loaded. And the White Sox are on the verge of handing the Royals the game. So I started to say it's a familiar refrain, same old story. Good teams figure out a way to win in the late innings. Bad teams figure out a way to lose in the late innings. And boy, if we haven't seen a perfect example of that right here in front of us in the last 5 minutes, then you need another videotape, because this is just a perfect example. Jake, you said it off air. You said that might be the worst ninth inning of any major league game I have ever seen. And I've seen a few, and it would probably make my top five. That was,
it's up there.
It was embarrassing.
All right, this guy's in the Hall of Fame. Denny Matthews is in the Hall of Fame. He's seen a lot of baseball. Matter of fact, he's seen basically every Royals game since the inception of the team. And he would say this would have to be top 5. Okay. It is must-watch TV. If you're watching, it's like, all right, just hanging there close. The White Sox are going to find a way to screw this up. But that's Denny saying, does they find a way to burp this game away? Kind of like Drew burped away this morning by not offering anything. By the way, the text line is roasting you. But they...
You can go ahead, you guys.
Denny Matthews was
go ahead
so
and roast
awesome
me. That's
there.
fine.
And he was so right. I'm watching this. I'm sitting here going, Logan, you know, we laughed about the White Sox yesterday. I call him America's booty call, and I've called him that for the last couple of years. And you know what? They deserve that moniker because they truly are.
Oh, yeah.
They are. They feel good. Oh, the White Sox are coming to town. Seriously, that is that girl that you call you 3 a.m. girl. That it's a given.
Yeah.
The White Sox are a given. They suck. They proved it last night. It's why I said they don't deserve to wear those Bulls jerseys on Friday night in their home games because no team should be disrespected by that clown show wearing their uniforms. Ball hitting off the noggin.
Yeah.
Guys getting pulled off the base to throw. The Royals, that was, as Denny said, burped it away. I don't know about you, Logan, but I was watching that. I was like, perfect for the show tomorrow.
Watching the Chicago White Sox play baseball, it reminds me of, and like my dad is this way. I don't know if you guys are like Fail Army. Those people that like love to watch videos of car crashes or train derailments, or you just like to watch the chaos. That is the Chicago White Sox, because you know something chaotic is going to happen. You know that it's going to happen adversely against the Chicago White Sox, and you're still there for it. I mean, they are the ultimate palate cleanser. Whether you are playing great baseball, you're on a hot streak, you're on a winning streak, you can continue it, or if you're struggling, you know if you're going to Chicago to play the White Sox or they're coming to your town, all right, we can get a series win here. We may even get a sweep here, try to right the wrongs or continue the momentum. They were the better team for 8 innings, or I should say 7.5 innings.
They're pitching better this year than last year. As I mentioned, they have 5 wins this year of 7+ runs. That leads Major League Baseball. Problem is they still have 10 wins.
Man, they were so good for 7.5 innings in that one. I mean, their starting pitcher went 6 1/3. He gave up 1 earned run. He had a great start. And then things started to completely fall apart, right? It was a tough grab in the 8th inning that left fielder could have made.
The pitcher was named Boozer. I mean, that was freaking awesome.
But he missed it, right? And then the 9th inning was just a cataclysmic collapse. I mean, off the dome, really? I mean, off the dome. It's one thing to just like miss the ball or Billy Buckner it between your legs.
Yeah.
But how fitting for the Chicago White Sox to let that one come right off the top of your skull, and the look of confusion on the guy's face as if like he didn't know what just happened as he's looking in the air for the baseball. Right fielder gets it and has an opportunity to throw out the runner at second base.
Yep.
I mean, the right fielder makes a reasonable throw there. He's got him, but for some reason, he feels that it's necessary for him to throw that thing at Mach 10, way out past the shortstop, way out into left field, and all of a sudden, you've got runners on first and second, and it sets up Bobby Witt Jr. to ultimately hit the walk-off. And I know that there's people that are saying, like, you know, Robert should have caught that ball. It wouldn't have mattered.
If he catches it, then they're going to tag up.
Runners on second and third with 1 out in the inning. It wouldn't have mattered. That's going to be a sacrifice fly. Game over anyway. It just counts as a hit for Bobby Witt Jr. instead of a sacrifice fly. My God, they're not worse than they were last year, but they are still god-awful.
I mean, that is just laughable. It's just, and Major League Baseball had to take over for a few teams their broadcast rights, you know, like, for instance, the Diamondbacks. They took over, Major League Baseball took over 3 teams' rights last year, right? They had to move the White Sox to Comedy Central. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. Like, that is the best comedy that we have. I mean, it's reality TV that's best, but the White Sox deserve to be on Comedy Central because I don't think I've laughed that hard at a TV show I've watched lately. I mean, comedy must be bad or whatever, but I haven't laughed. I've said it live. It's not been as funny. The White Sox are as funny as anything, Logan. I'll be honest with you. Watching that game, it's like they handed it right to you. And you know what? With the Rockies, they have the worst record in baseball. They're actually worse than the White Sox. I'd love to see a matchup, and it's going to be great when those teams play. It's going to be, it's going to be epic. But the Rockies, the Royals took advantage of the Rockies. They're taking advantage of the White Sox. Yeah, they're sitting 5 games over 500. How's that happen? Well, it happens when you take advantage of beating crappy teams.
Absolutely. I need somebody out there to take that ninth inning, the bottom of the ninth,
Put it in the Louvre.
just grab the clips, put them together, and set it to, I don't care if it's circus music, I don't care if it's Abbott and Costello, whatever I need some like dun 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 dun, because it was an absolute circus. It was a fiasco in that ninth inning, and it was just ultimately very, very fitting for how bad this White Sox team has been.
Pulling the second baseman off when you're throwing the second. That's where another guy was safe. There's another comedy of errors that they had. They couldn't even throw it to the bag right. It just all melted down. And you talk about, teams melt down when they play the Chiefs at the end of the game because the Royals haven't got to that stature yet. You shouldn't be melting down in front of them. You just knew what was going to happen. And then Chicago goes with the 5 infielders. Like that was going to scare Bobby. Like, don't do it. Don't do it. What's Bobby do? He just plants it in the outfield. Luis Robert puts it up against the fence. Bobby wasn't about to be scared about that.
The 1-0 pitch. High fly ball, center field's going to end the game whether he catches it or not. He doesn't. It just drops, and the Royals win it. What a way to end the game.
I mean, that was low-key one of my favorite calls of Denny all time. I mean, just listen to this.
The 1-0 pitch. High fly ball, center field's going to end the game whether he catches it or not. He doesn't.
He doesn't. It's a free base hit for Bobby.
He doesn't. That's awesome. Drew, I felt like I was watching the Bengals draft.
The fact that the Royals took advantage of it, I think it's as much about the White Sox as it is about the Royals, I guess, in the sense where, you can make fun of the White Sox and everything, which is great, and it's fun to do, but also being able to take advantage of it because, it was no outs and bases loaded. Then it got to 1 out and bases loaded. Bobby comes up and it's like, all right, well, if he does ground out for some reason, it's a double play. They go to extra innings, and they might, we're on the good side of it, I think, today, but you also could have been on the bad side where the same Royals offense that we've seen over the last 3 weeks has shown up, and they ground out into the double play. They end up losing the game in extra innings, and it's still just as bad of a loss regardless of how stupid the White Sox look. The fact that they were able to come through and get the job done is obviously great.
Not only that, but just the facial expressions of their players. There was frustration with the White Sox. It was that look of, I can't believe I'm here.
Not again.
That, but if you're the Royals, and how could you not just burst out in laughter? I mean, seriously, when that game was handed to you, you're playing the White Sox. They had to have been laughing.
Well, did you see Michael Garcia's reaction on the bench?
Yeah.
After the play, after the ball hit that guy on the dome on second base, he starts jumping up and down along the fence line of the dugout, laughing hysterically next to Salvador Perez. Like, they understood how comedically bad the Chicago White Sox had been. But let's not take away from some pretty outstanding performances for the Royals. Seth Lugo pitched another gem. He got himself in some tight spots. He gave up 7 hits. He walked 3, but he worked through it. He only gave up 1 earned run.
Yeah, and X would have had you thinking the Royals lost.
Yes.
There was a lot of Lugo, he's not good tonight. Come on, man. Lugo was fine. It was good after a quality start. Everybody was so negative until they won.
Yeah, he played.
And Cam Boozer's reaction was so awesome for the White Sox. That was another one of those guys, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, no. He did enough. If not for the faux pas at second base, I'm not sure they give up a run in that situation, right? And now we're heading to extra innings, although he did give up 3 hits in that inning. One of them to Bobby, which would have been a catch rather than just letting it drop because it wouldn't have mattered whether it was just one of those.
Catch it or not, he doesn't for the record.
How about Freddie Fermin with 2 bunt singles,
dude?
2 bunt singles.
Find me
in
a better
yesterday's
bunting
game
catcher,
for
Logan.
Freddie Fermin. How about it? I cannot believe. When was the last time somebody had 2 bunt singles in a baseball game?
Catcher with wheels.
Catcher.
Probably been a long time.
Speaking of catchers, I saw this stat the other day, and this is mind-boggling to me. I saw a stat of the number of stolen bases allowed by different teams in Major League Baseball, and there was the Colorado Rockies or somebody had given up 60 stolen bases this year, and I gotta find it. I gotta find it because I don't want to.
Got 50 of them.
I don't want to give up. Yeah, the Miami Marlins have given up 60 stolen bases. This was as of yesterday. They've given up 60 stolen bases on this season. Most in the league. Fewest in the league, Kansas City Royals. They've given up 6 stolen bases. Freddie Fermin and Salvador Perez behind the dish, baby. That's insane.
Lugo was outstanding. You think about Perez, that bats, started to come around with Sal. 1 for 3 last night, but starting to come around. Vinny
had 2 knocks yesterday.
I mean, Vinny's bat's starting to come around again. He's over the Mendoza line now.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, these guys, get these other guys producing. And that way, if, Bobby has a slump, which he's probably not going to have, but if he does, the team is fine. The team functions and goes forward. But Seth Lugo, it's 6 2/3 is 7 hits, like 1 earned run.
Yep.
1 earned run, yet everybody would have had you believe that he was terrible.
Yeah, he works himself out of situations, right? He is so good at getting himself deep into games. Yeah, he's going to give up hits. He's going to give up walks. He's not, he had a tremendous amount of strikeouts last year, but he's not a power pitcher the way that Cole Reagans is, right? He doesn't throw high 90s. He locates his stuff well. He's got tremendous breaking balls and a variety of pitches, right? What has he got? 13, 14 pitches in his repertoire, which is insane. So he keeps guys on their toes. He keeps guys guessing, and he is comfortable in uncomfortable spots is how I would describe Seth Lugo. A lot of guys, if they give up a walk and a base hit and they've got runners on first and third and nobody out in the inning, some guys, things might get a little tight, a little tense for him in that situation. Seth Lugo said, screw it. I've been here before. I'm going to continue to work. I'm going to try to get myself out of the situation. Hey, let's get a strikeout here. Let's get a double play ground out to end the inning, and we're on to the next frame, right? Yeah, you gave up a hit. You gave up a walk in the inning. That's not great, but I'm not giving up a ton of earned runs here. I'm going to give my team the best chance to win.
4th consecutive quality starts. He had a quality start in 5 out of the 8 this year. By the way, since 2024, he's held opponents less than 2 earned runs or fewer in 15 of his 22 starts at the K. That'll play.
He is, and that's your number 2, right? That's your number 2 starter in your rotation because you've got a perennial Cy Young candidate in Cole Reagans who has twice as many double-digit strikeout games as anybody else in the league. And then you've got a phenomenal number 3 starter in Michael Wacha and 2 guys punching well above their weight right now in Michael Lorenzen and Chris Bubich, fresh off of Tommy John surgery with a sub-2 ERA.
And as far as the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965, Boozer the Loser from the 816. Hey, Cam Boozer's a great name, but he looked pissed. When he couldn't believe what was happening. He's like, are you serious, guys? I want to get this game. Are you serious, guys? Is this really happening?
He's off to a tough start. He's 0-3 with a 5.4 ERA out of the pen.
That's not
By the
great.
way, Drew, speaking of the text line, one-way Drew, because of not
I certainly
going
don't
out.
go both ways.
Well, just get yourself something, not us. Here's another one. I understand it's okay to have them prepay for their items. The offer to pick up is not an offer to pay. One of my favorite sayings is, you buy, I'll fly. Bink could have offered to pay. All good. Have a great. I would have offered to pay. I wouldn't say, hey, you put it on your tab, Drew. I would have offered to pay, but many people consider what you did Bush League.
I mean, I wasn't planning to say anything. You asked where I was going. I didn't say, hey, I'm leaving, and then just left. You asked where I was going.
You kind of did. You were in a hurry. You saw a gas station. I thought.
He did mention to us multiple times that when we were done with the rundown, he was going to be heading over to the.
I didn't hear that part.
There were a couple of different opportunities where if we wanted to say something, we could have.
I didn't hear that part except for going to the gas station. Boom! He was out the door fast.
It was 10:40. I had to. Or 9:40. I had to go before the show started.
Yeah, regardless, I'll know
Anyways,
better now.
Well, so post-draft, like a couple days after, in the process, Jeremy Fowler came out with something regarding Josh Simmons, and I saw it then. We didn't really talk about it, I don't think, much on the show, but then, Logan, you saw it, and it reminded me of the potential conversation around this, that a lot of teams, because everybody talked about Josh Simmons and the patella injury and all that other stuff, and it's a concern for the offensive lineman, but it seems like, according to Jeremy Fowler's report, teams weren't worried about the injury as much as they were maturity or character issues, which to me was surprising because
concerns.
Because we didn't hear anything about it. Bink, I don't know if you did, if you and Chris heard anything about it in the lead up, but it seemed like it wasn't getting reported on at all whatsoever, other than just the injury thing for Josh Simmons. There was nothing that we heard as far as maturity or character issues were concerned until like the week of the draft really is when this came up.
That's a concern sometimes when it's effort, practice, how you
Is
do
that what
things.
it was? Is that what the issue was?
I don't know. I don't put a lot of stock into any of it, though, Logan, to be honest with you. There's so much crap out there about these players. Half of it's true, half of it's not. And I'm not buying because there's so much different information.
Mm-hmm.
You heard Ryan Nutt, who's the director of college scouting and for the Chiefs, talking about college football and how the transfer portal has changed the way that they have to evaluate players. Because on one hand, you might have a school crap on that player. You leave, you hit the transfer portal, they're going to have nothing good to say about you. Nothing. And then, of course, your new school probably will. Or in a case, you have to be careful, like James Franklin, Penn State. Purbulla is transferring to Missouri. Their quarterback. He did play some for Penn State, and he actually transferred at a bad time. It was before the playoffs, but he had to because of the transfer portal window.
Right.
So, but he was on board with Bo Purbulla. He was like, okay, go ahead and go. He understood it. So you're probably going to get a good recommendation from him. That doesn't always happen. So whenever I hear things about certain players, kind of take it with a grain of salt, especially if they've been in the transfer portal because you don't know if you're getting good information or not.
And a guy like Josh Simmons, that could play a factor. He started out his career at San Diego State. He was a phenomenal player there.
Clean slate here.
Used that to, catapult himself up to Ohio State. And you're right, Drew. I don't know if we were living under a rock or whatever it was.
It wasn't getting reported.
I hadn't heard anything about possible, shameless plug for Bink, character concerns.
Yes.
I hadn't heard anything about that. Everything I had heard about the concerns with him were the patella tendon injury. And so when I read this article from Jeremy Fowler, I was kind of surprised by it, where these executives were like, no, the injury wasn't the issue. Apparently, he doesn't always exhibit a tremendous amount of effort in practices, and he doesn't always buy into run blocking. And I read that, and I'm like, okay, I'm not concerned about that at all. That does not deter me one bit showing up to Kansas City to play under Andy Heck and Andy Reid and what these guys provide. I mean, Andy Reid's an offensive line guy. He always has been. And I'm not sure he has brought in, I'm definitely sure he hasn't brought in a tackle of this level of talent and athleticism as Josh Simmons is. I mean, you've had some talented guys, right? Eric Fisher did some good things in hindsight. At the time, we were all dogging on him, but now I wish we all think Eric Fisher should have stuck around for another 4 or 5 years to play tackle for the Chiefs because it's been a dumpster fire since he left. I also think that you look at it, he's going to buy into what this Chiefs team wants from him. I mean, you're not going to get on the field if you're not going to run block. You're not going to get on the field if you don't practice hard. And when you've got guys like Andy Reid and Andy Heck and, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith that are trying to push you, right? When you may have to line up in one-on-ones against Chris Jones or George Karlaftis, buddy, you're going to have to buy in pretty damn quick or you're not going to end up on this football field and you may end up out of the league pretty soon. He's going to have that come to Jesus meeting, and I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. I have no issue. And now that I'm hearing that executives weren't concerned about the patella tendon, I'm actually more on board with the possibility that he could be a day one starter for this Kansas City Chiefs team.
Well, it depends. Scouts had various things to say about it. One scout said kind of a F blank. It was his. Another scout said his issues are more football character. He has a complete blank sense of urgency like a total finesse player. Mental is an issue. See, you hear these things, but you can hear this almost anybody, right? You hear this almost anybody. Teddy Bridgewater was compared to Willie Beeman from the movie character.
From Any Given Sunday?
I mean, so these are ridiculous. And I'm not a huge Josh Simmons fan. I've made that clear. It was nothing about this whole football and the injury. Like it's injury related. It has nothing to do with the character concerns. Because, again, it depends on who you're talking to, what kind of axe to grind with certain players. But it's a different deal. When you walk in here, it's a different situation. You're walking in when banners are flying.
Yeah.
You're walking in when the head coach is number 2 all time in postseason wins. You're walking in when the quarterback is only to Tom Brady as far as postseason wins.
I mean, let's
A
not act like
two-time
at Ohio
MVP.
State, though, he wasn't walking into one of the best programs in the. I don't think we can act like he was at San Diego State the whole time.
No, he was. He was at San Diego State. San Diego guy transfers to Ohio State. Of course, wasn't on the championship run. He played in October, got hurt in October, wasn't in November, wasn't in the college football playoffs, had nothing to do with their national title.
Which is part of your knock against him, I think. I mean,
a big
you
part of
brought that
again,
up.
that was football-related things with the injury, because I think the injury is a freak injury that NFL teams aren't used to those patellar injuries, and it's kind of an outside the box. I did not care about the character concerns.
Did you guys know that Josh Simmons and Patrick Mahomes have something in common?
What is that?
Both of their fathers played Major League Baseball.
That's right. He did play for baseball.
Josh Simmons' dad played 3 years in the major leagues.
He wasn't a very good player, but he played.
That certainly counts.
Pat
for
Mahomes
something.
Sr. was a better player.
That's fair.
Did your dad play pro baseball, Drew?
No, he was recruited by D1 schools till he blew out his knee.
Do you have time to go run the quick trip?
During the break.
I'm kidding.
Get off this man's back.
I'm kidding, Drew. I'm totally kidding. By the way, Josh Vernier joins us later. Looking forward to talking some Royals with the ultimate Royals insider. We're coming up next. Jack Watch.
This is Cody and Gold.
You will not decorate my balls, period. I will decorate my balls.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5, The Fan.
At Shane Company, we know getting engaged is a big decision. But once you know, you know. That's the way our customers feel when they choose a Shane Company engagement ring. They walk into a warm welcome and walk out with their dream ring, knowing they got it right. For almost 100 years, we've been offering personalized shopping experiences. And we're in it way past the honeymoon, with a free lifetime warranty that includes the center stone, cleanings, repairs, and resizing for life. Shop with us at shaneco.com or at your neighborhood store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
The semifinals are here. That means all the show-stopping action is turning up a notch. Don't miss your chance to bet on all the legendary moments with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. FanDuel's the best place to find all your favorite player props, and now you can make the smarter play with new performance trends. Want to see if a guy is hitting that over consistently, or maybe they've been flirting with a potential triple-double. Get the latest stats right inside the app and see who's heating up. And once the game starts, that's when things get interesting. You can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. If you don't already have FanDuel, it's not too late to get in on the action. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com/Alex to join today. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Kansas. First on real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Guys, don't waste your time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit our TRT experts today at the Low T Center for a free consultation and free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurance is accepted with the freedom to choose if you want in-center care or at-home treatment. You're in control of your health. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start your prescription treatment. Offer limited. Look now at fixmylowt.com. That's fixmylowt.com.
Honey, our new James Hardy siding from Powell Exteriors KC looks so good. Our house went from worst to first. The neighbor waved at me today with her whole hand. I'm ready for phase 2 of our home transformation. Let's call Powell about that new deck. They're offering financing at 0% for 18 months on everything. You should call today at 816-656-1160 or take another look at their stunning work on powellkc.com, Facebook, and Instagram.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your legacy box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Legacy Box is offering a 60% discount. Order yours today and take advantage of our best Mother's Day sale ever. Visit legacybox.com/value, and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. legacybox.com/value.
Listen, Mom loves anything you give her for Mother's Day, but what she really wants is a call or a visit. Anything to feel close to you. And a digital picture frame from Aura will go a long way to making her feel closer to you. Help Mom miss you less by putting the power of technology to work. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter and featured in 495 gift guides this past year. I absolutely love it. There's no doubt in my mind my wife Janet is getting one of these things. She loves pictures so much, I know she is going to love this product. So the next time you need to call your mom, you can also send her a new pic of you from that trip that you were telling her all about right from your phone. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on this perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver mat frame. That's auraframes.com. Promo code ROAM. Support the station by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
Summer is better with True Green, especially at a price this low. For a limited time, get 75% off your first treatment and enjoy your lawn without overspending. With True Green, you get expert care and a plan tailored to fit your lawn's needs, so it looks best while you save big. Let the pros handle the hard work while you enjoy the results, relax more, and keep more money in your pocket. A great lawn has never been this easy or this affordable. Sign up now at truegreen.com. Restrictions apply.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Brought to you by MVP. Only $39 for an AC tune-up. Book now at themvpkc.com. MVP Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Electric is your home's MVP this spring and summer. Get a summer AC tune-up for just $39 and avoid costly repairs. 913-214-1212 or visit themvpkc.com. MVP. One call does it all.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Welcome back to Cody Gold. Jay Binkley, Logan Weber, Drew Nixon. We're here for the rest of the week. Get the Royals tomorrow. Little afternoon baseball for the Kansas City Royals. Little afternoon delight in the Chicago White Sox.
Trying to finish things up here against the lowly White Sox.
Yeah, that's right. Tell me something good, though, Drew. What about Jack? Let's see what Jack watch.
That went over the scoreboard.
That sounded good.
Another Jack for Jack.
That's a good one. Jack watch.
He's on fire, Bink. He's on fire.
He is on fire. Logan had an interesting tweet or a text from the text line about Jack.
Yeah,
Some misinformation.
Somebody had texted in and said, "Hey guys, random question, but a lady was arguing with me at the Royals game last night. Didn't Jack Caglianone get called up to AAA a few days ago, or am I tripping?" You're tripping.
Dude's tripping,
I hate
man.
to be the one to tell you
You
that.
lost the argument. That lady was right and you were wrong.
He's still in AA. In fact, yesterday hit 2 home runs during a day game against Wichita, both of them to opposite field, including a 3-run home run. He's now got 4 homers in his last 3 games. He hit one on Saturday with Drew and Cody and Gold and all the Royals fans from up here at 96.5 that came down and were in attendance. He hit another one on Sunday and then hit 2 more yesterday. 4 in 3 games. He's now hitting .330 on the year. His OPS is up over 1, which is unbelievable.
Crazy good.
And as if the conversations weren't already deafening, they're somehow louder for calling up Jack Caglianone. But it sounds like, according to J.J. Piccolo in the Royals front office, they're still not willing to rush this thing.
I'm to the point of rushing it. And I'll say this. Jack Caglianone or the Chicago White Sox? Like, how many Jacks would it take to beat the White Sox? Like, we talk about the 100 guys in the gorilla. How many Jacks could beat the White? I'm saying just one.
6.
And a mini Caglianone as it is, not a full-size one.
How many would it take, like, if it's only Jack?
Yeah, just Jack.
9.
I don't know, man.
I say 6.
I think just one could maybe
play
do it.
Jack at all positions. No, I'm saying play him at all 9 positions and then have him pitch.
Oh, they'd
Obviously,
probably beat the White. Yeah, he can pay. He's a good pitcher.
He is a good pitcher.
They probably win that game 15-0.
I was thinking 6. You have a Jack to pitch. You have one catching. You got 2 guys, one that's kind of playing in that shortstop area.
And he would scare them. They'd probably the ball bounce off their heads and everything like last night.
You got 2 guys kind of split in the infield, 2 guys split in the outfield.
Yeah.
We're off and running. And then you got 6 guys in the order that could probably hit, I don't know, 3 or 4 home runs between the group of them in a 9-inning game.
The best thing about the Jack Watch is that this Royals team's good. Like, it's one thing if the team is crappy like the White Sox, and you got a guy down in the minor leagues tearing things up. And you're like, just give us something to watch. Just get up here and just give us something to watch. For the Royals, it's fun because your team is good. And help is on the way. And it's not like, let's just call him up and see what he can do. Let's call him up and have him help this team. That's the beautiful thing about it is that the fact that fans look at this guy, they can help him along. This could be that addition that you have later on the summer where, of course, you want to see him play, but he can actually help this team. And I think that's the big difference between somebody like the Rockies or White Sox calling somebody up. This team can actually use him. It reminds me of those days when you sit there and watch what Hosmer's doing and Moose. And those guys are tearing up Texas League and then Omaha. And then, like, when Locade and they traded for that, and so you're following what he's doing in Omaha. It's just fun.
There's no pressure on him. Or at least there's not as much pressure as would be the case, like you were saying, if he played for an organization like Colorado or even if he would have been on this Royals team. Like the same situation Bobby Witt Jr. was in a few years ago, right? The Royals are playing bad baseball. Hey, we need this guy. We need him really bad.
Come be our savior.
Yeah, he was the number 2 overall pick. We need this guy to help with the offense. And obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. was able to take that in stride and help this team win. And he's helped them take massive leaps to get to the point where they're at now, where they can really become a perennial playoff contender every single year. I don't want to say a championship contender, but a playoff contender. And Jack Caglianone is in a perfect position right now where I think that the offense is getting better. The pitching is outstanding. They're going to be in games where Jack can come in and help this team win, but he doesn't have to, right? I think that's a mindset thing where I look at, and again, I'm kind of hearkening back to my time in Springfield covering both the Royals and the St. Louis Cardinals. And if you're familiar with the St. Louis Cardinals, they had a prospect a few years ago, Jordan Walker, who was at one point or another, I think he was like the number 3 prospect or number 4 prospect in all of baseball. Massive individual, 6'4", 230, looked like a linebacker or a defensive end. I mean, playing baseball, outstanding athlete, tremendous pop. But the Cardinals have completely and utterly mismanaged his career. They called him up far before he was ready. They changed his philosophy at the plate. They took him from being a line drive gap hitter, right, a doubles and triples kind of guy because he's got plus speed, and they tried to change him. They tried to change his launch angle, try to make him be a long ball hitter. And in the midst of doing that, they call him up to the major leagues, and he plays bad. And after about 60 games, they sent him back down to Memphis.
I think Jackson Holiday with the Orioles last year.
Yes, they sent him back down, and he never really found it again. And then at the end of the year, they called him back up, and they played him every day. They're like, I don't care what he's hitting. I don't care if he's seeing the ball like a beach ball or a ping pong ball. He's playing every day. And now he's back again this season. He's sort of in this platoon outfield thing, and he's hitting below the Mendoza line for a guy that was a top 5 prospect in baseball 2 years ago. And that's always been my fear with this Royals team is that you don't give Jack Caglianone enough time to get comfortable, right? Because the biggest thing is he's got to learn how to play right field or left field or whatever the situation calls for. And I know that there's people that are saying, should Jack play first base next year? I know that Vinny's off to a slow start. No, Vinny Pasquantino should still be your first baseman. From a what he did last year standpoint, from what he provides in terms of fielding. Having a bat like Vinny and Cags in the same lineup is perfect. It allows Salvi to split time between catching and DHing. It extends his career further, allows Fermin to catch. I like what the Royals are doing right now, not rushing this situation. And if I'm being completely honest with myself, if you're not going to call up Jack Caglianone on June 1st, Jack Caglianone should not make the Major League Ball Club this year. I don't want to see them waste a service year on a guy like Jack Caglianone by playing him half the season. That doesn't make any sense to me. I say you give him another month here in Double-A. June 1st, you reevaluate. If he's still hitting the ball really well, he's hitting above 300, that OPS is still hovering around 1. Okay, let's make the move to Omaha. June, July, August, the guy's playing in the minors, and then spring training, day 1 next year, he's your right fielder. He's your day 1 starter and right fielder on opening day next season. He begins his time in the show, and he becomes the proverbial favorite to win the AL Rookie of the Year award.
The bottom line is, you look at it and say, okay, this could help. Like, this could help the Royals. That's how you view him. Not just fun to go watch him hit a bunch of long-distance home runs. It's like, this guy can actually help the Royals. This is something they need. They've struggled in the outfield. Power has been an issue, except for that one day in Baltimore. Power has been an issue with this team, and it's got to solve both those problems. It's fun to go watch. The one thing is, this organization's in a great place. When you have a guy like Bobby Witt Jr. to go see every day, that's just luxury to have that quality of player in your town. Now you're going to have Jack. So you got a couple fan favorites. Oh, by the way, Sal Perez is still a fan favorite here. And we're not even talking about those guys that go out and just shove it every day, like Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans. Fortunate spot, 2 of the top 4 in the Cy Young voting last year. I mean, this team is loaded top and bottom. So I say don't hurry, because last year the Orioles, I know Jackson Holliday's having a better year this year, but they kind of ruined him there at the beginning. And they had to send him on back to the minor leagues. They brought him up too early. It's such a good commodity. You just have to wait on it. But I will say this, being a college player helps. And that transition is shorter and shorter between college players and pro baseball than it used to be.
Yeah, look at Paul Skeens.
And Skeens, perfect example. That's the biggest difference between football and baseball. Football, you can make up for anything, just your physical ability. Baseball is such a mental game. Like I said, hitting the ball 3 out of every 10 times puts you in the Hall of Fame. If you're a career 300 hitter, it puts you in the Hall of Fame. It's such a mental thing. Like, that's what you have to be careful of. And sometimes you want to rush them. It's that football mentality. Hey, just let them start right away. Because we see rookies in the NFL start right away. And they step right on and they go. Because that's what they do. Baseball takes ball because of the whole mental aspect. Sometimes I think teams take too long with it. Sometimes I think the system of you must play A ball, you must play Double-A, you must play Triple-A. Sometimes I think that's overrated. Things are meant to be changed at times in sports. We've seen so many things changed in the game of sports. Whoever thought there'd be a pitch clock like they have now? But things change. And just because that's the way you've done it doesn't mean it's the way you have to do it. But I think more and more guys taking shorter time to get to the pros, but you don't want to screw it up. And that's the biggest difference in that football mentality that we have here in Kansas City. Like, hey, get in there and play. Let's go. Get in there and go. I mean, having the fortunate experience, like Mahomes sitting for a year, actually probably helped him. Being behind Alex Smith. As much as it seems silly that this guy wins the MVP the next year, like they had that kind of talent on their team, I do wish they would have put Mahomes in halftime of that Titans game. But that's beside the point. But I think they were fortunate to have Alex Smith here so Mahomes could sit behind him. But typically I didn't have him in football, like baseball.
I think with a situation like Mahomes and how it pertains to what Jack Caglianone has got going on right now, what Bobby Witt Jr. was dealing with a few years ago is, the game of baseball, the talent disparity, I think, has shortened, right? You've got technology in the weight. I mean, all these things that have allowed for younger guys to become so much more talented, so much more quickly than we're accustomed to. What I think the most important aspect of this minor league journey for Cags before he gets to the show, and what was so important for Mahomes is, the talent's there. That's obvious. It's there in spades, right? Jack Caglianone, when he gets it all figured out and he puts it all together, he's a 40 home run a year guy, which is going to be phenomenal to watch in that Royals lineup.
Can this guy cut it or not? Mentally, is he tough or not? He's proven he can.
Yes.
Like, this guy's got it mentally.
The thing he's having to adjust to is the professionalism of what it means to be a pro, what it means to play pro baseball versus college baseball, right? It's a different mindset for these guys. And
I will say
Mahomes
this,
talks
playing in
about
the
that.
SEC is probably better than playing in A-ball and AA, to be honest with you.
It could be to some
Because
extent,
the SEC
yes.
is that. This isn't about me being an SEC homer or whatever, but SEC is very good baseball.
Yes. I agree with you. And with NIL and the transfer, right, guys are learning how to manage money and manage expectations and things like that a little bit more than they were previously. But Mahomes talks about it, right? What was so beneficial to him his rookie year, sitting under Alex Smith, was he learned how to be a professional. He learned, okay, I got to be the first one in the bill. And Alex talks about it, right? He's like, the first couple of weeks was all it took. And then he started beating me into the building every day. He started beating me into the film room. He started beating me into the weight room. He started watching more film than I was watching. He started speaking up in meetings. And that is what sitting behind Alex Smith as a rookie allowed Patrick Mahomes to become, was
Which
a
is rare
student
to
of
have
the
a
game.
veteran like Alex Smith mentoring somebody that came in to take his job.
Yes, and what minor league baseball does that maybe college baseball doesn't do a ton of is the scouting and the sitting down and watching film and going through what your swing looks like and what pitches are you hitting well, what pitches aren't you hitting well, what should you lay off on? Okay, am I getting hit with a lot more high and inside fastballs on first strike pitches and whatever it might be. It's the mental side, it's the professionalism side of the game of sport that I think is most beneficial for Jack Caglianone right now. And by allowing him to just continue, again, we talked about it yesterday. I know that everybody wants to see him show up. Bobby Witt Jr. played 60 games of AA and then 60 games of AAA before he got to the majors. For Jack Caglianone to get called up tomorrow to bypass AAA entirely and get to the big show, it's not unprecedented, but he will do that with less than 30 games of AA experience and no AAA experience. The guy doesn't even have 30 minor league games on his belt right now, and you'd be calling him up to the pinnacle of the sport of baseball.
But that wouldn't be an option because they use AAA. It's what they do. It's what the Royals do. You have to figure out, is he mentally fragile? I don't think he is. Like, you look at a lot of guys, are they ready for the major leagues? No, they're mentally insecure. He's not. Like, you can tell right away, you either have it or you don't. And some of these guys that get called up and they failed, they're mentally weak. Jack Caglianone doesn't seem like that, and the Royals are finding that out quickly. This guy's not made like this.
No, I mean, even go back to college, like his it factor is certainly there. And the patience of the Royals is good. Them being as good as they are, to your guys' point, is allowing them to be patient and not feel like they have to rush him up, which obviously is not only benefit.
Which is great because it is a position of need.
It's beneficial to not only the Royals because you don't need him right now, but it also is beneficial to Jack for allowing him to make sure that he's fully on ready to go, and his time's going to come and he's going to be ready for it because of how the Royals are handling this thing. Meanwhile, you can argue, how the Cowboys and the Steelers are handling a certain situation. If you woke up this morning, you would have seen Logan. I'm surprised. I thought you would have known this before you got in. Logan comes in. You were gone at the moment, Bink. He comes in, sees that.
Is this when you guys were discussing breakfast at Quick Trip?
No, sees the breaking news that George Pickens was traded from the Steelers to the Cowboys. He's like, wait a minute, this trade happened? I was like, yeah. So, and you go and you look at it and you're like, it's interesting because Logan's first reaction was, what are the Steelers doing?
Yep.
And you can also, I think, have the same reaction as to what are the Cowboys doing? They gave up a third and I believe a fifth-round pick or a future sixth-round pick as well.
Pretty good for a second-round pick.
For George Pickens, which feels like a little bit too much to give up maybe, but then again, they want to pair CeeDee Lamb with somebody who they feel like is reliable.
Yeah, and Dallas is dumb.
It feels like what are they doing on both sides for this trade? Again, George Pickens is now a Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah, that's great. Another diva in Dallas. Exactly what they needed. It was great because rarely do Bob and Dusty have breaking news at 5:50 in the morning, right?
Yeah. Was it that early when it happened?
Yeah, it was like 5:30 a.m. It was right before the show.
It broke at 7 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, it was right before the show. I remember Dusty and Bob, when they first came on the air, they were talking about it. Because rarely does that happen. Usually it's during this show or Carrington's show, breaking news. But this broke with Dusty and Bob, right? They were like right there with it. I go on with them at 6:45 every Wednesday, usually talking college football or at some point, but obviously not as much to talk about now, but we talked about the Pickens thing. I just said I kind of laughed because if there's one place and one person that could handle George Pickens and his prima donna diva attitude, it's Mike Tomlin. And it's worked. He's got over 100 catches last 2 years. Like, he's found a way to make it work. Now, Dallas, clearly, it'll have to be a new contract situation as they keep getting these contract situations, like they did CD, like they did Dak, like they're with Micah.
Going to have to do with Micah Parsons.
You're going to have it with George Pickens, because George Pickens, he's also the type of guy that'll come on the sidelines and throw a fit like a baby when CD Lamb's catching more passes than him. So they're going to have to deal with that. That's Dallas' problem. I just looked at it and said, this is weird, because there's one thing Pittsburgh could be scary at, even though they don't have a quarterback, which should scare them, unless it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, is that it's not Pickens and Metcalf. That would actually be a nice little tandem. That would actually be something Pittsburgh. They're already losing Najee.
Right.
He went to the Chargers. Thinking about Pickens with Metcalf, that would be kind of a pleasant thought. And I went over the 2022 wide receiver class for you.
Would it be, Bink?
It sucked.
Would it actually be a good thing to see George Pickens with
It's a
Metcalf?
talented wide receiver
It looks
room.
good until DK Metcalf is mad because George Pickens is getting the reps, and then he's mad at Kenny Pickett, who's mad at, or whoever the hell the quarterback is at this point, Mason Rudolph.
Kenny Pickett probably is it's Kenny Pickett's
Mason
gone.
Rudolph.
I'm saying it's Mason Rudolph, but I mean, or it's going to be George Pickens whining and complaining that he's not getting the ball because DK. It would look really good. There'd be some moments you were like, this is exactly what Pittsburgh needs, but you'd also have the one or two moments where it's a complete dumpster fire and neither of the guys are focused. One, because the quarterback stinks. Two, because they're not getting the ball and the other guy is. And it turns into just a whole problem. It's
Jerry talked about
two
this.
number ones in the same room that both have a history of, call it diva if you want to, but passionate enthusiasm
diva's a good word.
Passionate enthusiasm for them getting the ball more than anybody else. And those two people in the same room can be dangerous.
But Tomlin can handle that. Like, Tomlin can handle that.
Yeah, but for him to handle all the guys that he's handled previously, for him to only last 2.5 or 3 years with George Pickens, I think it goes to show you as well, George Pickens is, I mean, he might be the cream of the crop in terms of, I'm not handling this guy. I'm done. And I'm very happy to get rid of George Pickens.
Well, Jerry Jones has been talking about
Mike Tomlin's
this.
mind.
Don't forget, Jerry Jones went to the doctor, and he's got the brain of a 40-year-old, according to him, when they did the test.
Of course, Dallas made this trade too. Of course,
America's team, yeah, Dallas. I hate Dallas, by the way.
It's a big splash.
I say that in
It
sarcasm.
is. It's the big splash that we've been waiting on the Cowboys to do for nearly half a decade.
I think that also could be a mess,
Jones
though.
talked about this before the draft. Said, "Can get some deals in the works." And you know what? This news is actually broken by a dude from Odyssey that works with the station down there in Dallas. And so Rappaport and all these guys are, hey, actually first on the scene was,
how about that?
Whatever this guy's Twitter handle was for that Odyssey station, which is crazy because whenever news breaks, everybody's like, so-and-so was first. Someone, who cares, man? Just give us the information. I don't care who was first, who was second.
Right.
To be honest with you, I really don't. Just get it right.
I think this tells us that Brian Schottenheimer is planning on chucking the football.
They still have no running back, right?
They have no running back. You know, Dak got hurt last year, but the previous season he led the NFL in pass attempts. I think that you will see something similar.
They had to bring Zeke back last year. It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it
Deuce
was
is still there.
That's right.
They are going to throw the ball a lot next season, I have to imagine. And on paper, it looks great. I mean, having
They
Dak,
did draft Jaden Blue from
They
Texas.
did. Yeah, having him and
They also have Javonte Williams. I actually forgot about that. So they actually have a decent little crew.
yeah, it's just a matter of, you know, can they get all those personalities to work well together? I agree with you. I thought the Steelers on paper, that group looked great on paper. Pickens and DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth at tight end. And, you know, I know they lost Najee Harris, but, you know, keep an eye out, Steelers fans. Caleb Johnson from the University of Iowa has arrived, so things will be fine.
I know
But-
you're an Iowa homer,
Logan.
I know you're Iowa homer, but that actually is a perfect fit.
Phenomenal fit.
He fits the Steelers perfectly.
Phenomenal fit. I was very, very happy when I saw that he was going there. But
I remember Najee Harris when he was drafted by the Steelers. He's with the Chargers now. We did this draft in honor of Therese Paylor back when he passed, and I had the Steelers pick. And so it was really easy for me to go Najee Harris because that's where he went. I mean,
Right.
it's such an easy
Get a guy
fit.
that runs the football all the time. What does Iowa do? They run the football all the time and really
Correct.
well.
Same
that
uniforms.
they do.
It
Yeah,
fits.
he just stays in the black and gold, baby. It works out.
true.
It works out just fine. But yeah, I feel bad for DK Metcalf a little bit Because, like, he's in Seattle. They cut Tyler Lockett. They trade Geno Smith, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore. Like, get me out of here. They're like, okay, we'll send you to Pittsburgh and pair you with George Pickens. Oh, that's great. Pittsburgh a month later. We're getting rid of George Pickens, and we don't have a quarterback.
We might have Aaron Rodgers, though.
DK's like, what am I doing here? I just left a bad situation for a worse one somehow. I mean, the defense is great, and it's going to keep you in games.
Sandwiches. You ever had those Pittsburgh friggin' stuff?
I don't know. I don't know. DK Metcalf seems to have made a bad decision on his part trying to leave Seattle, because he would have had Emeka Ibuka and Sam Darnold.
He should actually be a Chief. DK Metcalf. Essentially, they were thinking about drafting him. And that would have been nice. Take a time out. We come back. I'm going to go to a quick trip in the break here. I'm trying to get a drink since Drew wouldn't do it. Come up next, C-Dot tweeted out something that was pretty interesting. Let's discuss it next.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
All right, we're all enjoying watching basketball, so let me tell you about Underdog, which is one of the best places to make entries during playoff basketball. If they score buckets, you score cash. Join the millions who have already won billions playing at Underdog. If you don't believe me, their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews with millions of players. To play, really simple. Download the app, choose whether a player will go higher or lower than their stats, and you can choose from things like points, assists, rebounds, layups, all those things. So it can be a layup playing over at Underdog. You can play with as little as $1. So if you get everything right, you can win up to 1,000 times your money. So yes, you can turn $1 into $1,000 with your basketball knowledge. So download the Underdog app today. Sign up with promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Consult with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Men, here's the truth. In the bedroom, good enough isn't really good enough, is it? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And if your erectile dysfunction is making intimacy less enjoyable for you and your partner, give us a call today. Because whether your ED only happens sometimes or all the time, it's time to stop good enough and time to start really good. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. Whether it's only mild or moderate, or even if it's severe, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we have a variety of treatments and can even combine protocols, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in a long time. You could even last up to an hour or more and make sex great again for you and your partner. So make an appointment and be done with good enough. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you.
In the moments that matter most, you show up. You protect, you serve, you heal, you care. Now, let Reiselman Nissan show up for you with our Hero Appreciation Program. Kansas City's heroes get special discounts every single day. Choose from over 160 new Nissans with Kicks, Sentras, and Altimas starting as low as $399 a month, because honoring you is our privilege. Visit ReiselmanNissan.com. Every customer, every time. Reiselman Nissan.
Not all vehicles may apply. See dealer or check ReiselmanNissan.com for all details.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
One of the busiest times of the year is here, and Smokehouse Barbecue is going to make things a whole lot easier. Grad parties, Mother's Day, and baseball. For your grad party, you can pick up carry-out or have it delivered. Smokehouse also has banquet rooms at each location for your grad party. Bring mom to Smokehouse for Mother's Day and treat her to the best barbecue in town. And if you're heading to a ball game, grab Smokehouse carry carry out, and take it to the game. Check out Smokehouse Barbecue in Independence, Zona Rosa, or Gladstone, and at smokehousebbq.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. But what if you could bank that equity right now? With TrueHold, you could sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. TrueHold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since TrueHold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit TrueHold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9393 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's TrueHold.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Listen, Mom loves anything you give her for Mother's Day, but what she really wants is a call or a visit. Anything to feel close to you. And a digital picture frame from Aura will go a long way to making her feel closer to you. Help Mom miss you less by putting the power of technology to work. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter and featured in 495 gift guides this past year. I absolutely love it. There's no doubt in my mind my wife Janet is getting one of these things. She loves pictures so much, I know she is going to love this product. So the next time you need to call your mom, you can also send her a new pic of you from that trip that you were telling her all about right from your phone. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. For a limited time, listeners can save on this perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver mat frame. That's AURAFrames.com. Promo code ROAM. Support the station by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch all the shows from your phone, desktop, or tablet. Your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back. Cody Gold. Someone asked where they're at. They're out in California. Jay Binkley, Logan Weber, Drew Nixon with you. I just heard the mock draft sounder outside, Drew.
Yeah, I don't know if you're outside and you're driving around. There's a mock draft sounder somewhere.
I heard it.
You know, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. There's a mock draft sounder somewhere. Bink.
Must not going to be raining. I didn't think they played that.
Way too early mock draft.
Way too early mock draft. Logan Weber in here with me. Hey, Logan, you're kind of you've been around here for a while, but tell us a little about yourself. What, Northwest Missouri State?
Yes, sir. So I'll start at the beginning. I grew up in the Metro. I'm from Lawson, Missouri. Not sure if many people have heard of it. It's near.
Well, if you haven't, you better ask somebody.
Yeah, fair. It's north of the Metro, northeast of the city. So it's like Excelsior Springs, Liberty area. I like
Love
to say
Excelsior Springs, by the way.
I'm sure you do.
From there.
I like to say that if you needed groceries, you went to Excelsior. If you wanted to go shopping, you went to Liberty. And if you needed something fancy, you went to Zona Rosa or the Plaza. You know, I grew up about 35 minutes from downtown, about 45 minutes from the complex. So grew up in the area. I went to Northwest Missouri State, and after that, I graduated and moved to Springfield, where my fiance at the time, my now wife, was finishing up her undergrad, and ultimately she went to grad school down there as well. So we ended up spending close to 4 years or more than that even in Springfield, and then kind of got an opportunity to
Logan's
come back
favorite
up here.
place.
Yep.
Springfield.
Yep, Springfield.
I do have to ask you one question about this
Let me
because
hear it.
I think that this is Logan and I's fandom might be a
hear it.
I think that this is who you're rooting for.
Iowa.
Okay. So this is the thing about me. So I went to Butler. Same exact reason. I'm a Wisconsin fan. You know this, Logan.
Drew,
If
you like everybody.
If Butler played Wisconsin, I'm rooting for Wisconsin. Even though my alma mater is Butler and everything. So I wanted to ask that because, there's somebody else out there that everybody, you go after my fandom and call it crazy.
Why would you go for
somebody
Butler?
else out there.
Why would you go for Butler?
Because I love Wisconsin.
Why?
My grandparents lived there for my entire life up
But it's
until
not
they
a
passed
tiger.
away.
It's not a tiger like you like her.
They don't have to be a tiger.
Well, that's why you like the Bengals, you said.
I've rooted for Iowa my entire life. Northwest is where I went to school. I actually applied and got accepted to go to the University of Iowa. But out-of-state tuition was like $30,000 a year. I'm not paying $30,000. I know it's the University of Iowa, and I love it, but
not free.
Absolutely not. I'm not just going to go pay all that money. I mean, there was legitimate my sophomore year of high school, between my sophomore and junior year, right before I met my now wife, I was actually having like serious conversations with my parents and my aunt and uncle who live in Iowa about me moving to Iowa my senior year of high school and living with my aunt and uncle so that way I could get in-state tuition at the University of Iowa. Ultimately, that didn't end up happening. Northwest is where I went to school, and I love it to death, and I'll root for the Bearcats till the day I die.
Big Ten guys.
It also helps that it's D2 versus D1. Like Butler, Wisconsin's a tougher one because they're both Division I schools.
They played each other
but
this
Butler
year.
Butler doesn't have football, right?
They do, but they're FCS.
Okay.
D1 lower level.
I didn't think Butler had football. So, I mean, again, it's a lower level of competition, so it makes things a little bit easier. And my fandom for the University of Iowa is 12 years stronger than my fandom at Northwest Missouri State.
I for the exact same reason. I'm a Wisconsin Badgers guy.
I'm a gorilla guy, man.
Forever.
And guess what?
And by the way, Gorillas beat Missouri State in football.
All right. Yeah, that we're having some down years, all right, in Maryville.
It's fine. Back in the day.
It's fine.
Where's your Pitt State gear then?
Huh?
Where's your Pitt State gear?
I don't have it with me, Drew. I do have some.
It's considered a health and safety. People have to avert their eyes when they see it, so you're not technically allowed
Every
to wear
time
it
you
in
guys are
public.
talking gorillas and stuff, gorillas fighting people, they always take the gorilla.
Always take it, yeah.
Unless it's a Pitt State gorilla, and then I'm taking one human.
Shout out Excelsior Springs as a text line. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Love Excelsior. But anyway, Logan, some people ask, tell me more about Logan. Because when you're at night, different daytime.
Right, different times,
But
yeah.
you're from here. You're around the area. You grew up with the trials and tribulations of our local sports.
I grew up around the area. I've been to dozens of games at Arrowhead. I've been to probably 100 Royals games. You know, it was one of those things growing up where as soon as you got your driver's license, one of the first things you went and did was, all right, let's go watch a game at
Mine was
Kaufman.
going to a strip bar and going to the Woodlands.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm to each their own, I guess. For me, it was hopping on I-35 and then hitting the I-70 interchange and heading to Kaufman to watch a Royals game. But
I got my driver's license the day I turned 16 as well, by the way. Did you, Drew? Did you wait?
I got my license. I got my permit as soon as I could.
Yeah.
I was ready to go. I was very excited to get my license.
I took my driver's test the day I turned 16. I failed it the first time.
Logan.
Did you really?
I did.
Did they have you parallel park?
I actually aced the parallel parking part, and they let me take the entire test, and then the guy failed me because I had made a right turn. So I had my turn signal on. I made the right turn, and then the guy told me to pull over completely off the road, and I didn't put my turn signal back on to pull over, and he failed me because of that.
Okay.
So I was like, this is insane. So I took it again like 2 or 3 weeks later at a different place. So I took the first driver's test in Excelsior. I took the second one in
Excelsior's very tough, man.
I took
We
the
have good
second
drivers.
one in Richmond, Missouri, if anybody's familiar with Richmond, Missouri, and I got a 93. I got a 93 on that driving. I was like, really?
Shout out Richmond.
I failed it the first time and got a 93 the second. Okay, that makes sense.
Goodness. We were talking about wide receivers in the last, with George Pickens, but also even before that as well with the Chiefs in the room and even out in the bullpen, Juju and Sky and all this other stuff. They get Jalen Royals. You mentioned the tweet that CDOT sent out, Bink. I thought this was interesting. He tweeted out a poll and basically said, if you could guarantee that Jalen Royals was D-Rob, would you take it? 30 catches, 350-ish yards, a few touchdowns. Is that a rookie season that you're taking from Jalen Royals, or are you expecting more?
We had 21 for 212 his rookie year. He's a fourth-round pick of the Chiefs. Bounced around a little. Was on practice squad of the Raiders, stuff like that. Kind of found his home with the Rams. Baltimore, he was okay with Baltimore. He had 48 catches when he was with the Ravens. Not bad. Would I take DeMarcus Robinson? I would expect maybe double those catches, the 40 catches, somewhere in that area. Hopefully is what you get from a rookie. But I mean, DeMarcus Robinson, that's fine. DeMarcus Robinson's fine with Chiefs, won a ring with Chiefs. That was fine and everything. I would want something better, actually.
Both
of them fourth-round picks.
Yeah, with DeMarcus Robinson, I know that his rookie stats are, in my opinion, they're a little bit skewed. He had 21, like you said, 21 catches for 212. He might have had 400 yards receiving if he would have just run north every once in a while. The one thing that always bugged the hell out of me with DeMarcus Robinson is that he would run sideline to sideline more than he would run end zone to end zone. It used to drive me insane. If Jalen Royals, I have no problem with him having 20, 25 catches, 300 yards, as long as he is a guy that catches the ball, gets upfield, because he is a run-after-catch guy. He is a rack sort of receiver.
Which is what they want.
Absolutely, it's what they want. And I like that you're able to use him as sort of a gadget guy, right? You can use him in the screen game a little bit and some swing patterns and whatever you want to do. And even sort of as your bailout guy late, right? You've got Worthy and Rice and Brown. They're running their particular routes, and Travis is doing his thing, and say Royals is that guy that you need. Okay, late dump off, nobody's open. Pat needs to get rid of the football. I think that puts him in a great spot and gives him confidence. It gets him acclimated with the pace of play, the speed, the physicality, while not putting a bunch of pressure on him early on in his career, because I don't think he's quite built for it yet. I would have no problem whatsoever with him having that kind of
I do like the fact that he stayed there, Utah State. Like, he stayed there. He could have bounced. He stayed there. I like that part about him. I'd like to see him push Juju. I'm not just wanting to say, hey, Juju's your fourth receiver. We'll see what happens in St. Joe.
Right.
Like, I'm okay with that. If Jalen pushes him, I'm okay with that. There's less pressure. Sky Moore, ton of pressure. Rashee Rice, I felt like, had a lot of pressure. And Xavier Worthy, not as much in the beginning until Hollywood gets hurt, Rashee Rice gets hurt. Then it's like, step up, young man.
Yeah.
You're going to be needed for this team. So we saw that pressure later. I would expect more. D-Rob is fine, but I would expect more than D-Rob, to be honest with you. And I know they're both fourth-round picks, but you expect more because that was it. That was the dart they threw. And Mahomes is the big unknown. Back when DeMarcus Robinson got him.
Right.
He's a known now. You know what you got. He's a made man. He's a known commodity. You know what you got. You expect the best to be with Patrick at this point. If you're drafting anybody, it's with him in mind.
Yeah, my biggest thing is I'm hoping for better than the 0 receiving touchdowns. If I'm looking at, if I'm being honest, I'm hoping for less of a DeMarcus Robinson sort of Chiefs stat line. I'm looking more towards like the way Byron Pringle played towards the end of his time in Kansas City. Like that third year he had, because the first couple of years he barely played, but that third season he had, I think he had what, 500-600 yards.
Undrafted guy, yeah.
500-600 yards receiving. He had 4 or 5 receiving touchdowns this year. He
and
caught,
by the way, Mahomes' MVP season, he only had 22 catches. DeMarcus.
Yeah, I mean Pringle caught like 40 passes in 2021. So I would love to see something similar to that, right? Because Rashee Rice is going to, if he's healthy and he's the same guy he was last year, Rashee Rice is a guy that's going to grab 80 or 90 passes, right? Hollywood Brown, if he stays healthy, is a 60 or 70 catch guy. Worthy's a 60 or 70 catch guy. So I think that, and then you've got Trav, who's going to be Trav. And hopefully, if I'm being honest, I'm hopeful that Travis doesn't have another 80 or 90 catch season next year. I want him to get used less so that he's more effective when we get into late December, January.
Yeah, he did have 97 catches. Everybody think he didn't do anything.
Yeah,
he did.
He had a phenomenal year last year. It wasn't, his yards and his touchdowns weren't quite up to the same standard.
He still was a target.
And I think that he was overly targeted at times because he had to be, because you lose Hollywood, you lose Rashee Rice, you're rocking with a rookie wide receiver at wide receiver 1, and you trade for DeAndre Hopkins, who's got a torn MCL. He had to be that guy again. So if you're getting 80 or 90 grabs from Rashee, you're getting 60 from Hollywood and Worthy and Travis Kelce respectively, another 30 grabs, it gives you, right around 300, total
They really want to throw it to guys out of
year.
the backfield. That's one thing Brashard Smith brings. Catches out of the backfield is a former receiver. So that does help.
I think the biggest thing for Jalen Royals is that there may not be a lot of catches to be had. There might not be a lot of extra grabs that are available to him. I mean, look at Mahomes in his career. The most completions he's 430, 401. So you're typically looking somewhere between 350 and 450 completions for Mahomes a year. That's all the catches that are available to everybody. And when you're looking at how much of that is going to be taken up by that big four with Worthy, Rice, Hollywood, and Travis Kelce, you're going to see another 50 or 60 catches probably out of the backfield, whether it's via Pacheco or Hunt or Brashard Smith, or if it's Elijah Mitchell, I don't know. So I don't know. I think he's got the talent for it. I could absolutely see him having a similar year or even a better year than Demarcus Robinson. It's just going to be hard because there are a lot of mouths to feed.
Are you okay with drafting one receiver, or would you like to see more?
No, I'm good with it.
Because they've been throwing that one dart. I actually wouldn't mind one or two, at least two receivers, to be honest with you.
It depends on if they hit or not, right? If they had, picked Rashee Rice and it didn't work, after you had picked Sky and it didn't work, after you'd picked McCole Hardman and it also really didn't work, then you're looking at it and you're like, they haven't drafted a receiver that hit since Tyreek Hill. Then yes, I probably would have rather seen them take Worthy in the first round last year and a receiver in the third or the fourth. But you hit on Rashee.
Throw more darts, you have more opportunity to hit.
You hit on Rashee, you hit on Worthy, and you've got Hollywood still there. Royals, I think, is a great talent. I think he was a little bit undervalued because of the injury and playing at Utah State. I'm intrigued by him, and it's hard to draft multiple guys at one position when it's not a high position of need, when you've got other pieces, when you're looking at this Chiefs team and you're like, they need defensive line help. Turk Wharton went to the Panthers. Derek Notty's with the Jets, right? Mike Pennell's not getting any younger. Chris Jones is on the other side of 30. You knew you had to do something on the defensive line. I felt like they had to do something at corner. I know that they brought Fulton and some other guys over, but I still felt like you need to grab more guys because Joshua Williams is a great special teams player, but I don't trust a lot of what he does defensively in the secondary. If you can find more guys to kind of limit his snaps defensively and limit Shamari Connor having to play corner, which is not his position. He is an in-the-box safety. That's where he's at his best.
And now he's going to get more opportunity to move back.
Yeah, and you needed offensive line help. You needed a tackle. You had to take a tackle in this draft. I don't care if it was the first round or the fourth round. I don't care. You had to take one. It made no sense not to. And you had to take a running back.
Came to the end, but they got it.
Of the positional needs the Chiefs had, wide receiver was not in the top 5 biggest positional needs for them. So to take 2 wide receivers when it's not a top 5 positional need didn't make sense to me.
I do feel with Kelce coming back and Brown re-signing with the Chiefs that drastically helped them in the draft.
100%.
Because without those 2 cats, those now become positions in need.
100%. Oh, somebody just brought this up, and that's a great point I hadn't thought of. We may see Jalen Royals get some more opportunity depending on what happens with Rashee Rice in his situation, right? The suspension is likely to be handed down.
Plus the injuries. Listen, you don't count on them, but they do happen.
Yeah,
and
they
you
do.
saw that firsthand last year.
No question. No question. And you hope that it doesn't happen again, but fluke injuries.
Because you got
do
Hollywood
occur.
Brown this year because of what happened last year, because I think he would have gotten the bag somewhere because he needs to, because he's at close to that 30-year-old mark.
Yeah.
And had he not got that big contract, which thinking he was getting, but he didn't play.
Yeah.
So that's why he came back to Chiefs at a great contract price. And I love what the Chiefs do. They like to get people in the prove-it times. It's kind of like Jalen Moore. It's a prove-it type deal at tackle. Like, prove it, then you get your big contract, but you got to come here and prove it.
You played
and
great.
Hollywood's the same way.
You played great for half a season backing up Trent Williams, but can you do it for 17 games? Can you do it when there's nobody, there's and not to say that there's nobody, because Josh Simmons is going to be right there and he's going to have to stay on his toes. Somebody in the text line, I love the optimism here, the glass half full philosophy. Somebody just said, I don't know if it means anything, but Sky Moore looks more muscular than he did the last 2 seasons.
Best shape of his life.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Do not buy in, folks. Stop it.
You're more muscular. Can
Stop
you run
it.
routes? Can you catch? That's the important
I've
part.
seen the Justin Ross stuff already. Jody Fortson's no longer on the Kansas City Chiefs. Otherwise, we'd be hearing a ton about Jody Fortson. I give Josh Briscoe so much crap for that because he was the biggest Jody Fortson fan on planet Earth for 4 or 5 years there, and it never happened. Please, I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. Sky Moore is on the final year of his rookie deal. He will not be a member of the Kansas City Chiefs next year. Do not fool yourself into thinking that Sky Moore has hope. I'm sorry.
It's not even guaranteed he makes it out of St. Joe.
No, it's definitely not. Definitely not even. No, I think it's more likely he doesn't.
Because there's 5 receivers I'd put him right now.
Well, yeah, I think them drafting Jalen Royals, I'm with you guys. I think that officially puts him on the chopping block in all likelihood.
Yeah, because if you're looking at...
And it's okay.
If you're looking at a list of 3 guys...
We see quarterbacks moved all the time. They would draft a lot of higher.
You've got 4 guys, I think, guaranteed to make this roster. Probably 5. You've Hollywood, Rasheed, and Xavier Worthy. I think Royals makes this roster. I likely think Juju Smith-Schuster makes this roster. But
From there, that's
you're
where
not,
the question marks begin.
if you're not check-marking Juju Smith-Schuster, then of the 3 guys... Sky Moore, Justin Ross, Juju Smith-Schuster. If one of those 3 guys is getting cut, it's going to be Sky Moore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't think there's any question.
Last year they had 7. I expect it to be similar now because last year you had Rice, Worthy, Watson,
So we just
Moore,
rattled off
Hardman,
how
and
many?
Juju.
5, you said? So that's 5. So there's 2 spots available. Do you keep Nico Remigio?
That
Great
depends.
return guy.
That depends because they drafted 3 guys that can return.
So you wonder though, like, is Sky actually not on the chopping block? And if they actually decide to keep 7 of them, we just named 5, knowing or thinking that Rasheed is going to get suspended. Again, it hasn't happened yet, but we can assume that because
It's the NFL guys.
Did they keep Tyquan Thornton on? I know they picked him up off waivers last year, former first-round pick.
Speaking of 2022 wide receiver draft
kid out
classes,
of Baylor. I just don't know if he's still around. I know that he brings a
and
ton
Justin
of talent.
Watson's with the Texans now, so you have to worry about that.
Yeah, and how about, we've got a mini camp darling that we may discuss a little bit later on in the show, who is getting a lot of hoopla right now, and maybe he's the guy that ultimately puts Sky Moore out of a job. I don't know.
Biggest thing, don't be enamored by guys in shorts.
You guys want to get to a quick trash of the day before we go to break?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Trash of the day.
Taekwon's still here, by the way.
Okay.
All right. So Bink actually had you had this in the rundown.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is trash of the day. So
Very
there's a story coming out of where, Bink? I don't have the rundown pulled up.
It's in Ohio.
Coming out of Ohio, there is a name. I don't know if you've had a pet raccoon before.
Never.
Bink, or if you've thought about having a pet raccoon.
No, but I have several stories involving raccoons.
But there is a pet raccoon named Chewy who was found with a meth pipe in the driver's seat
Yeah, it didn't always
during
happen.
a police stop, and a woman has been arrested.
Yeah. And they searched the car because...
as the car was hers.
If he has a meth pipe, what else is in that car?
That's a great
If
question.
Chewy's got the meth pipe, what
My
else is in there?
favorite part of this story isn't that it's a raccoon. It isn't that the raccoon's holding a meth pipe. It's that the raccoon was in the driver's seat of the car.
Yeah, Chewy.
Holding the meth pipe.
That raccoon's got a meth pipe. Come check this out, Joe.
Jeez.
Yeah, the incident happened Monday night. Springfield Township police officer decided to conduct a traffic stop and identifying a vehicle whose registered owner had an active warrant and a suspended driver's license.
That's not great.
When the officer approached the car, he found a 55-year-old woman and was able to detain her without incident.
But she had the appropriate paperwork for the damn raccoon.
I guess so. However, things took an unusual turn, according to the police statement. As the officer returned to the vehicle, he observed a raccoon named Chewy sitting in the driver's seat with a meth pipe in its mouth.
It's pretty cool.
Chewy had somehow gotten hold of a glass methamphetamine pipe, leading officers to inspect the vehicle further.
Oh, my God.
The raccoon was not a wild animal and was confirmed to be a pet as the woman had the proper paperwork
Of
and
all
documentation.
she had a ton of drugs in her car, but she had the proper paperwork for the raccoon.
A suspended driver's license, but by God, that raccoon was properly documented.
This is legal. Chewy's legal. The meth pipe raccoon is legal. Raccoons are very smart, Drew. I don't know your experience with raccoons.
I don't have much of an experience with raccoons. I've seen them before, obviously, but I don't have any
down at the Ozarks, they used to put
involvement with them.
catch the fish, right? You put them in the basket on the dock there, so they stay in the water. The raccoon would pull them up, eat them on the dock, and then poop. That was first raccoon experience. Second raccoon experience was at the house. When you played poker on like Friday nights, your garage doors open and stuff, the raccoons would come in, and they travel in packs, right? This raccoon was really fat, and the other ones weren't because he was getting all the food. And I saw him hop up out of the drain one day. Like, here comes the fat one, and then comes the little raccoons behind him because he was getting all the food, right? Because he was their, quote, leader. They're very smart, Drew. They're extremely strong with their little claws. I don't know how good of pets they would make, but they're like little thieves.
They are trash pandas. Raccoon is a trash panda. Raccoon is a trash panda.
In some states, you can't have them as pets.
I think they're gross. I think they're disgusting creatures. I don't do well with woodland creatures. Raccoons, possums, no thanks. Please get as far away from me as humanly possible. It's gross. They are nasty. The woman was ultimately charged after police found a bulk amount of methamphetamine.
Shocker.
3 used glass methamphetamine pipes, and crack cocaine. This woman was on meth and crack. And who knows what the raccoon's on? That raccoon might be vibing right now. In fact, he might be dealing with withdrawal symptoms. His dealer's been arrested. I don't know how he's going to deal with this.
By the way, it's illegal in the state of Kansas to have a raccoon. Missouri, I don't think it's out there. Some states you can have them. Arkansas, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Colorado, I believe, Illinois, Tennessee, Florida, Ohio, Michigan, several places. Actually, Michigan, no, I don't think you can have a raccoon, but some states don't allow it. Some states do. I never thought you would want one. We'll get you one, Drew. Hey, actually, you live in Kansas, don't you?
You want me to have a raccoon?
I'd love it.
I'm okay.
But Kansas, it's illegal. It's illegal in Kansas, so it's a mute point.
Look, if you want me to get an animal, I'll get a puppy, and we'll be good. You know, I'll go to our friends over at Wayside Waifs, and I'll get a puppy. You know.
For Missouri, it says logistically impossible. I'm looking at the what states it's legal to own a raccoon. Not a lot of them. Mostly it's illegal, but it is legal in certain states. Obviously, in Ohio, it's legal. She had the proper paperwork for the meth.
What isn't legal? What isn't legal in Ohio? Like, I mean, honestly.
Well, meth raccoons are definitely legal. That's what I'm talking about.
Meth raccoons. A crack-coon is what they're calling it in the text line. That's insane.
You should. Coming up next, great segue. Chiefs Red Half Hour.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Did storms hit your area? Looking for answers on the impact it made to your roof? Then it's time to schedule a zero-pressure, in-depth inspection with Century Roofing's trusted roofing experts. We will determine if enough damage exists to warrant filing a claim. See for yourself why Century Roofing has been voted Best of Johnson County for the 3rd year in a row. Trust the pillars of strength for 35 years. KC based and female owned. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
The other place, Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, Mission, and Belton have lots of big screens, great food, and beer specials. Plus, patio season is coming up soon. The Other Place is your home for baseball this spring. The Other Place and theotherplace.com.
Graduation season is always so busy around our house, and when we have important celebrations, we trust Hy-Vee. They're my go-to partner for all of our family celebrations, and Hy-Vee can help you with your graduation party planning. They have party trays, personalized cakes, cookies, floral arrangements, party decor, and so much more. Plus, you can leave all the prep work and messy cleanup to Hy-Vee with full-service catering for any size celebration. Choose from a wide range of menu options to suit your style and your budget, only at Hy-Vee.
This Mother's Day, treat all of the moms in your life like a queen. No, wait, an empress with a little help from Hy-Vee. Surprise her with a stunning floral arrangement or choose from dozens of gift cards for some retail therapy. Then bring the whole family to brunch at the Hy-Vee Market Grill. Just $24.99 for adults, $7.99 for children 6 to 12, and kids 5 and under eat free. Just one stop for endless options to crown her queen for the day. Only at Hy-Vee.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out.
Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out.
Oh, Downy in the rinse straight.
Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
QC Kinetics provided amazing pain relief for a former professional baseball player, and you have access to the same life-changing treatments as retired Braves pitcher Jose Alvarez.
I put a lot of stress and strain and work on my right arm, but my right elbow took most of the damage with 3 surgeries.
Arthritis developed, and the pain was unbearable.
It wasn't just pain when I was trying to play sports. It was anytime I was moving the right elbow. It was pretty excruciating at times.
That's when Jose discovered QC Kinetics and the regenerative treatments that help the body heal itself, restoring damaged tissue and providing relief with no surgery or downtime. Jose's message to the medical professionals at QC Kinetics?
My elbow is feeling outstanding. Where were you 10 years ago, for crying out loud?
QC Kinetics is right here. Call for your complimentary consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics. 816-412-6299.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at PowellCasey.com.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
I'll bet you mom is the best gift giver in your life. She always gives the most thoughtful, meaningful gifts. And that wrapping, that ribbon curling, top notch, right? So give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter, and it's easy to see why. There is unlimited storage, so you can add as many photos, videos, and funny memes as you can find. And it is so simple to set up. Just plug it in and share away. She will feel so close to you, and you'll cement your place as the best gift giver in the family. Win-win. Dudes, I'm telling you, the technology on this product is incredible. Mom will love it. Aura's got a great deal for Mother's Day, too. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver mat frame. That's AURAFrames.com. Promo code ROAM. Support the station by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
This report is brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka and Surfside Lemonade and Vodka. Proud partner of the Kansas City Royals. Each can of Surfside is only 100 calories, and the best part, 0 bubbles. Grab it at the Cave or ask for it at your favorite bars and liquor stores.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Welcome back, 96.5 The Fan, the home of the Kansas City Chiefs. Jay Binkley, Logan Weber, Drew Nixon with you. I think this is the finest half hour in Kansas City radio. The Chiefs Red Half Hour, Logan. Because we do like the Chiefs here in town.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A lot of bit.
A lot of bit.
Drew loves them.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. Bengals fan. As far as the Chiefs Red Half Hour, mini camp's been going on. The rookies have all been here. The undrafted free agents here. They've signed some, and some have been let go. Like if you're a Jared Casey fan from KU, he's already been let go. He's going to the Dolphins rookie camp now to see if he can hang on to that. One of the guys that the Chiefs are going to keep around, former Florida Gator, wide receiver Elijah Badger. When you're talking about who can make this team, who could be a receiver, Elijah Badger. Chiefs Twitter account labeled him as one of the undrafted free agents to watch. 4.43 speed at the combine. One of the knocks on him is he's got the talent to be a wide receiver 3. That's always a caution. Like if you can't have the talent to be a wide receiver 1 or 2, you rarely see wide receiver 3. It's a reason you are undrafted. Doesn't mean you can't play. Byron Pringle, undrafted. But again, undrafted receivers, there's a reason.
Yeah, and with him, you don't have a ton of productivity during his college years, right? He played 4 years at Arizona State and then transferred to Florida, where he played in the SEC last year.
He did have Jaden Daniels, though.
He did have Jaden Daniels, and his best year was his sophomore year with the Sun Devils. He had 70 catches for 866 yards and 7 touchdowns. At Florida this past year, he only had 39 catches, but get this, 800 yards. The guy averaged 20 yards per catch. He is a big play threat wide receiver. He's thin, but he's got great size.
He's still 200 pounds, 6 foot.
He's 185, 190 pounds, 6'1", which gives you great height. He's got a good wingspan, 6'3", 6'4". He's a go up and get it kind of guy, and he can make plays after the catch, as is evidenced by the number of yards he had on limited receptions. I'm curious about the lack of productivity during his final year at the University of Florida. Now, some of that had to do with the quarterback situation.
It did lead the team, though. The yards did lead the team.
It did. And once they made the change at quarterback away from Graham Mertz to, I can't remember what the kid's name is, the freshman out of Florida. Yeah, Lagway or whatever however you pronounce it. He started, his production bumped up a little bit. But again, I give the same expectation for right? A lot of people are really high on Brashard Smith right now. Brashard Smith was a 7th-round pick for a reason. Elijah Badger was an undrafted free agent for a reason. There are concerns there, whether they're athletically, production-wise, whatever it is, there's a reason why he wasn't picked in this draft.
We'll
see if it can happen.
Coverage with him, like getting away from coverage, getting separation. It's one thing they do worry about with Elijah Badger. But again, who's going to be the camp darling? I don't think the Chiefs actually need camp darlings. Like in the past, sure, there's room for a Mike Catapano. Can you make this team? What can you do? I just don't see the, quote, need for it so much with this team.
Not at wide receiver. I mean, it's such a loaded group with Hollywood, Worthy, Rice. You drafted Jalen Royals. You still have Juju around. Everybody continues to be high on Justin Ross and what he can bring. Former 5-star recruit who was an outstanding player at Clemson before the injuries really kind of derailed him.
TDs in the national title game or playoffs.
That he did very, very early in his career. And then the injuries kind of, bumped him off the field. Best availability is, availability. Best ability, I should say. And so I don't know. I can't see him being a huge proponent of this roster. Maybe as a practice squad guy, right? Maybe you keep him around, do what you've done with Justin Ross, which hasn't done much of anything. I don't know. I don't buy into the thought of like the camp darlings and the undrafted free agents or whatever, especially at skill positions, because for every undrafted free agent wide receiver there are 30 new guys at wide receiver that get drafted every single year. And it's such a revolving door of people. Same thing with the running back position, right? There's so many guys that you're like, oh, yeah, he was good for a year or two, and now he's just out of the league. It's just, I don't know. I'm not super sold on it.
Text line says put weight on him and take Kelsey's spot. Well, he had to put some height on him, too.
Yeah, he's 6'1", so he would be a wildly undersized tight end.
His problem is the physicality. So not tight end, I don't know if you'd want him there.
Yeah, and
it's not going to happen. He's 6'1".
I think Noah Gray proved to us a little bit last year that he can maybe not completely take over the workload of Travis Kelce, but he can do some of the things that Kelsey's done over the years for this team, and he's proven to be a reliable weapon for Patrick Mahomes.
One of the names I've seen a lot, and I'm sure you've seen it too, and you've heard from people, Nick Chubb. He put out these videos crack me up when people put their workout videos out so you can look at it. Oh, did you see him squat? Did you see him bench? Nick Chubb did this, and a lot of people are like, oh, he's recovering from that injury quite well. Look at his workout videos. But you see the Chiefs LinkedIn. There was a story a while back about from CBS this past week about 3 landing spots for maybe Nick Chubb. And it was the Bears, it was the Broncos, and it was the Kansas City Chiefs. Then you say, well, the running back room is already crowded with Kansas City. And that's okay. That's an accurate statement. You think, all right, who's going to get the carries? Rashard Smith's on the team. Isaiah Pacheco will be on the team. Elijah Mitchell, can't guarantee that one. Had blazing speed in his pro day, 4.32. Staying on the field has been a chore for him. They bring back Kareem Hunt. But what are your expectations with Kareem Hunt? My thing is when I see this, because keep in mind, Kareem Hunt had to share carries with Nick Chubb when they were together in Cleveland. I look at Nick Chubb a lot like, to be honest with you, I look at it as kind of a better version of Kareem Hunt, to be honest with you, if healthy. We know that. Nick Chubb's got 4 years where he's had 1,000 yards in the NFL. He's been playing since 2018. He's got 7 years kind of under his belt now as an NFL player. I'm okay with that, but the thing about that, if you do that, that's getting rid of Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see another skill set, another guy, another piece to the running back room. And if you think Nick Chubb could be more viable than Kareem Hunt, okay. Like, I'm okay with that if that would be the one person he'd be replacing.
I personally don't like it. I know that Nick Chubb, if he's healthy, brings a great deal of talent.
He's a 5-yard carrier, average carrier. That's important.
Is Nick Chubb healthy? He's played in 10 games.
Well, the exercise
over the
video
past 2
says
years.
it all, Logan.
Yeah, so they say. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I mean, he's a tremendously talented player. But again, he's 30 years old. He's coming off of a very, very serious injury with the torn ACL and MCL that caused him to miss almost all of the 2023 season and then caused him to miss the first half of the 2024 season.
10 games last 2 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there's still tread on those tires, obviously he's had a lot of time to rest and recuperate
But
here.
that would be the odd man out.
Yes. I think that Kareem Hunt, is he less of, if they're both 100% healthy, right? Nick Chubb is a more effective runner of the football. The problem is that I'm less confident in Nick Chubb being able to stay healthy. You know, Kareem Hunt, for his all his good and bad, has stayed pretty healthy throughout his entire career and has been used as a bell cow in short yardage situations for a lot of his career. And Kareem Hunt has, and I hate to put it in this manner, but not that Nick Chubb wouldn't have something to play for, obviously, because he's trying to get his career back on track and stick around in this league. But Kareem Hunt has the chip on his shoulder of what happened during his first tenure in Kansas City and what it meant to him last year to play meaningful snaps for the Chiefs and help them get to a Super Bowl, right? I think that was a huge part of why he was as effective as he was when he came back, coming fresh off the couch and doing the things that he did in short yardage spots. Kareem Hunt is that dude you need on 3rd down and 1, 3rd down and 2, 4th down and 1, 2nd down and 1, to just say, hey, go get us a yard and let's move the chains here. I don't know if Nick Chubb is that guy. Nick Chubb is more of a 3-down back if he's healthy, but we don't know if Nick Chubb is healthy in that situation. Honestly, for my money, and I hate to be the one to say this, if you're signing Nick Chubb, in my view, it doesn't make Kareem Hunt the odd man out. It makes Isaiah Pacheco the odd man out.
Really? Text line saying, don't forget Isaiah Pacheco's 7th-round pick. My answer to this is so. What's your point?
It's not like Isaiah Pacheco has
There's no guarantees for Isaiah Pacheco. No guarantees.
He hasn't become a Pro Bowler all of a sudden, has he?
He hasn't become the guy that the 4.37 speed he had at the combine. That was alluring when he had this. Okay, we haven't seen the breakaway. Like, you want to see it, and it almost gets it, but it gets brought down. And I'll say this. I know there's a lot of Isaiah Pacheco fans, but I'll say this about it. He runs extremely hard, and I keep hearing that. But I'll always go back to, what's he do on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1?
Right.
And the answer is get replaced by Kareem Hunt when it's important by the Chiefs.
Well,
That's what they did. It's what they did. What they do speaks volumes. When a healthy Isaiah Pacheco, or quote healthy, he was still coming back from an injury. So take that with a grain of salt. But it was the trust factor putting Hunt in towards the end of the half, and then basically on the whole second half, he was taking over for Pacheco.
He's got great speed. He runs hard, but you're right. When it comes to short yardage situations, I don't know if he's got the pop, no pun intended, to break through.
I just don't
and
see
get
a
a yard or
situation
two.
where it would be Chubb and Hunt still on this roster.
Yes.
That's my thing.
And I also, one of my bigger problems that I have with Isaiah Pacheco, as hard as he runs, he sometimes runs hard when it's not necessary. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of patience with Isaiah Pacheco. There's not a get a handoff, wait a beat, see if the blocks develop, see if a hole opens up. He is, all right, I'm getting this and I'm going through the B gap. That's what the play call is telling me to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do. He is so hyper-focused on what the playbook is telling him to do. He's not looking for a cutback lane. He's not looking to see if something opens up, a linebacker comes crashing inside, and he can bounce it outside to make a big play. He doesn't do a lot of that. He is just head down, get north and south, and that's great at times if the blocks work the way they're supposed to, but how often does that actually happen? He's not, and somebody in the text line just said it, he's not the playmaker at the running back position that I think the Chiefs need. So honestly, somebody else said, did the Chiefs sign Nick Chubb? No, they haven't. It's just he's a free agent right now. The Chiefs are considered one of the landing spots. We're just discussing it here a little bit.
Chiefs said nothing about it. This is people's speculation.
It's pure, unadulterated, irresponsible speculation on our part. I just think that if you were to go after Nick Chubb, honestly, it would make Isaiah Pacheco's role come into question, which, again, leads me to believe that the Chiefs are not going to entertain the idea of picking up Nick Chubb.
What do you think, Drew? Because P. Ryan is now back with your Bengals. Never should have let him go, by the way. I love P. Ryan with the Chiefs. Love the situations he did. I love when Denver cut him. I was like, get him in Kansas City, and they did.
I mean, do I think the Chiefs should get Nick Chubb? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
I mean, I don't think they will because it's not what the Chiefs do. I think they could, but To me, they're not going to. Because
I think we can say it's not something they do because to me, you bring Kareem Hunt back, that's essentially like a Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
I mean,
but Kareem Hunt played
they're
for the
essentially
Chiefs.
the same type of guys.
I think it's totally different though, because while they're the same player, Kareem Hunt played for the Chiefs. They always go back to Juju Smith-Schuster. They go back to guys more than they do go and find new people in particular, especially if they have injury issues or anything else like that. Like they went back and they got Juju. They went back and they got Kareem Hunt. They're not going back to getting a Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb's better than Kareem Hunt, or can be if he's healthy. I mean, that's the big
if. That's the big if. He's played 10 games last 2 years.
Yeah, but I mean, I think to me though, them signing Elijah Mitchell and them signing Kareem Hunt deadened any potential chance that they go and make any other move. And I know that they could technically just cut Kareem Hunt and go and get Nick Chubb, but it doesn't make sense why they would do that. To me, they might as well, if they wanted Nick Chubb, they should have waited until after the draft and then go and gotten Nick Chubb and not signed Elijah Mitchell or Kareem Hunt.
I just want to see something different, though. You know what I'm saying? You had this running back
I
crew.
totally
You had
get that.
Pacheco. You had Kareem Hunt here. Get something different. To expect different results from the same group, you can't do that. You always have to be constantly changing it. That'd be my biggest reason, Drew, was the fact is Nick would be different than Kareem. You can't go with the same group and say, hey, this is a group that'll get it done. Well, they didn't get it done.
I know, but that's just something that the Chiefs, from what Alex and Cody have said, from what just everybody at the station has said, this is something that the Chiefs kind of do. Something in the text I mentioned, they went back to McColl. It's just, they bring older guys back who did some good things for them, and it tends to work out as we've seen. I mean, they've been able to go and win Super Bowls and go to Super Bowls and everything like that. But I think would I take Nick Chubb? Yes. That doesn't mean that I think the Chiefs are going to do it.
Well, it's definitely an area that's out there. It's out there to get better at. And to have someone reliable for Patrick Mahomes to turn around and hand the ball off to, pick up first down so he's on the field and you're not bringing him out of Riza to punt the football. That stuff's big, man. Yeah. And that stuff was missing because you want to see 15 stay on the field as long as he can. That was just one of the areas that I think they could get better in. It could be a weapon, especially out of the backfield, catching the football. But that's one area that I think can be improved. Maybe Rashard Smith's the answer. It's a lot to put expectations on a 7th-round pick, though.
100%.
Despite his year at SMU.
I agree with you completely. This is a position that I thought should have been a higher area of focus than I think it had.
It's a great draft class for it.
I don't understand. That's the biggest problem I have with what the Chiefs did last week or 2 weeks ago. I have no problem going with Josh Simmons at tackle at 32. Okay, that's fine. I don't understand why you waited until the 7th to take a running back when you're sitting there in the 2nd or the 3rd and you've got guys that you could really have taken a chance, guys that could be potential 3rd-round backs. It was an incredibly deep running back class, right?
I think they got to the 7th and like, eh, boy.
Yeah.
Let's call it the Patriots. Hey, we'll give you both picks, 2 more picks in the 7th round. We just want to trade up.
I hate the fact that they waited as long as they did because again, I'm not anti Isaiah Pacheco. I like Pacheco as a player. I like him as a person. I just don't think he is a 3-down back in the National Football League. And the Chiefs need a guy that can do that, a guy that you can trust to run the football and catch it out of the backfield. They don't have a guy that can do both.
Or showcase what you can do, and that's that breakaway speed with a little bit of that power. And then also translate your power and your angry runs to 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could have gone after an R.J. Harvey. I mean, even a guy like, I know that people in this area were high on DJ Giddens, and I know that there were those people that were talking about Noel, and I just didn't think that made sense. Trevor Etienne from Georgia.
Devin Neal, they like.
Yeah, Devin Neal, the Tutton kid from Virginia Tech who ran a lightning quick 40.
Tootin Woody had a 4.32.
Yeah, 4.32. Yeah.
I liked him.
Again, I don't know. Waiting until the 7th round to take a more of a gadget guy. I don't know.
I mean, as a wide receiver, turn running back, he's going to have less wear and tear on his body, but it does give him that element of a guy that can catch out of the backfield. That part's big, but still, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, it's Kareem Hunt's job at this point.
Yeah.
Like, that is why he's on this team.
Yeah, I don't know. With the amount of too high, and look at what the NFL looked like a year ago. right? Look at the running back production last year with NFL teams across the league going to the too high safety looks and trying to keep everything in front, and the big plays down the field aren't happening as frequently anymore. Teams became much more reliant on their running games. And you need a guy that you can look at on first, second, and third down and be like, that's our guy. That's a guy we are comfortable giving 20 carries a game to if we need to. I just don't think the Chiefs have that guy. I don't like the idea of this running back by committee approach in 2025 when you look around the league at what some of these upper echelon backs are doing, and you had an opportunity to go after some guys that could fit that mold with how deep this draft class was.
That's Logan Weber. We'll take a timeout. We come back. What's trending? Get back to some Kansas City Royals in that fun game last night.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Reiselman Nissan, the king of midsize SUVs, has the ride you've been waiting for. Shop the best selection of Rogues and Kicks in Kansas City, with payments starting at just $399 a month. Plus, every day, Reiselman salutes our first responders and heroes with special discounts. With over 160 new Nissans on the lot, your perfect ride is waiting. Visit ReiselmanNissan.com today and experience royal treatment at Reiselman Nissan. Every customer, every time. Reiselman Nissan. Not all vehicles may apply. See dealer or check ReiselmanNissan.com for all details.
Jefferson's has a brand new happy hour designed to save you money. Enjoy half off appetizers and half off your bar tab. 7 days a week at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. Yeah, you heard that right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour at both locations. And it gets even better. Mondays are all day happy hour. Plus, they've got reverse happy hour every night. Whether you're catching the game or just kicking back with family and friends, Jefferson's in Lenexa and North Kansas City is the place to be. Proudly local and always delicious. Jefferson's. Wings, burgers, oysters.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. Come in today for incredible anniversary savings across the store. You'll find some of the hottest prices of the year, now through May 20th only. From fresh produce to family favorites, don't miss the unbeatable prices at every Cosentino's location. For 77 years, it's been our family's honor to serve yours, and we're just getting started.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
I'll bet you mom is the best gift giver in your life. She always gives the most thoughtful, meaningful gifts. And that wrapping, that ribbon curling, top notch, right? So give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. Aura Frames was named the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter, and it's easy to see why. There is unlimited storage, so you can add as many photos, videos, and funny memes as you can find. And it is so simple to set up. Just plug it in and share away. She will feel so close to you, and you'll cement your place as the best gift giver in the family. Win-win. Dudes, I'm telling you, the technology on this product is incredible. Mom will love it. Aura's got a great deal for Mother's Day, too. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver mat frame. That's AURAFrames.com. Promo code ROAM. Support the station by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans, and this is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Royals baseball.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
Welcome back. Noontime. Happy lunch to you. Jay Binkley, Logan Weber, Drew Nixon. This is what they do every single day, and that's what's trending at noon, brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today, bakeru.edu. Josh Vern comes on 12:30. Talk about hair loss to Kansas City Royals, you name it, with Vern. But right now, my friend Logan, what's trending? Royals in a beautiful, beautiful game last night. Well, actually, the game was terrible, but the ninth inning was comedic relief. The White Sox found a way to blow it again.
As they typically do. All right, you got a second baseman trying to catch a pop-up that hits him quite literally on the top of the skull.
That was awesome.
A right fielder throws an airmail to second base, trying to get an out despite all of that. And then Bobby Witt hits one deep into center field. It drops for a hit, and ultimately that was the walk-off winner, as the Royals have now won 13 of their last 15 games. This team is rolling.
On fire. And not only this is how it sounded in the ninth inning with the voice of the Kansas City Royals, Denny Matthews.
Lead at first, in comes the pitch. Jammed him in a high pop-up on the infield. And it's off the glove of the second baseman. They're going to throw the ball to second wildly. They had a force play there. And here you go. The White Sox are on the verge of burping up this game. It's the old story, folks. He squares to body, gets it down. How are they going to mess this one up? No throw. Boozer picked it up, had no play. And the bases are loaded. And the White Sox are on the verge of handing the Royals the game. So I started to say it's a familiar refrain, same old story. Good teams figure out a way to win in the late innings. Bad teams figure out a way to lose in the late innings. And boy, if we haven't seen a perfect example of that right here in front of us in the last 5 minutes, then you need another videotape, because this is just a perfect example. Jake, you said it off air. You said that might be the worst ninth inning of any major league game I have ever seen. And I've seen a few, and probably make my top 5. That was
It's up there.
It was embarrassing.
That's incredible. Denny Matthews in the Hall of Fame. Been with the Royals since day one. Put in the top 5 of embarrassing ninth innings. It was a classic. According to Nick, who's the director of media relations of the Kansas City Royals on X, he says this 13-2 streak from April 20th to May 6th matches August 14th through 29 in 2016, where they went 13-2. August 5th through August 19th of 2014. Of course, they went to the World Series, 13-2. They had a 13-2 stretch June 2nd through 18th, also of 2014. But it's fun to watch that ninth inning. You just knew something was going to happen. You knew you were on the verge. I mean, it was a bad game. The game, I mean, Lugo was fine. People didn't like it. I did. 1 earned run, big deal. Lugo was great. Kind of a snoozer of a game. Found myself kind of watching some of the Padres Yanks, too, as well as some NHL. But ninth inning, have to watch what the White Sox are going to do to lose that game.
When your opponent's making mistakes, don't get in the way. And that's exactly what the Royals did yesterday. What else is trending? If you're a Golden State Warriors fan or you put money on the Warriors to make the Western Conference Finals, Steph Curry is expected to miss at least 1 week with a grade 1 left hamstring strain, according to Shams Charania of ESPN. He suffered the injury in the second quarter of the Warriors' Game 1 win against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but is now expected to miss at least Games 2, 3, and 4 of this series. So the Golden State Warriors are going to be without their best player, the best player in franchise history, against a Minnesota Timberwolves team that has become a giant killer of sorts with Anthony Edwards. Not a good sign if you have a rooted or monetary interest in the Golden State Warriors.
And as far as the NHL playoffs, you had Game 1, you had the Hurricanes and Caps. You had the Hurricanes win the game 2-1 over the Caps, and Edmonton in Vegas, 4-2 game you had on the NHL. In the NHL tonight, you've got a couple of games. The Panthers, Maple Leafs, Game 2. The Toronto actually has a 1-0 lead in that. And also the Stars and the Jets, Game 1 of that series. Both these teams going to Game 7. So we'll see if Winnipeg can continue that luck that they had against the St. Louis Blues, but they scored with 1.6 seconds left in the game. Very interesting thing there. Also waking up today, there was news. Trade news in the NFL. If you're listening to Dusty and Bob, they brought that, and Mac, they brought that to you right at the beginning at 5:58 in the morning right here in 96.5. The George Pickens trade, the big trade from the Steelers to the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys get another diva. Steelers get a third-round pick. You could say it's an even trade. It's fine. Get the diva out of Pittsburgh. Now it's Dallas's problem. But if you do bring in Aaron Rodgers, you just lose the old Pickens and Metcalf combination they would have had.
The Steelers, that would be the dumbest decision they've made this season. Not trading George Pickens, but signing Aaron Rodgers. But that's because I'm a certified Aaron Rodgers hater. I digress. I believe this is a good move for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, George Pickens is a diva. He's this and that, and he likes to fight DBs. He's a good talent. He puts up productivity. He's a jump ball receiver. Pairing him with CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott in an offense that is going to throw the football a lot. Dak led the league in pass attempts 2 years ago, coming back off the injury with Brian Schottenheimer as the OC. I'm intrigued by this fit for the Dallas Cowboys. In other NFL news, just 14 months after signing a 3-year, $39 million contract, Gabe Davis is now looking for work. The Jacksonville Jaguars cut him a couple of hours ago.
After a lot of money in Jacksonville.
They've now let go of Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, and Gabe Davis. So now it appears, is Travis Hunter now wide receiver 2 for the Jacksonville Jaguars?
And Gabe goes back to Buffalo.
Behind Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know what's happening there. By waiting until, so technically he hasn't been cut yet. He is designated as a post-June 1st release, meaning that they will have a $5.7 million dead cap hit rather than if they were to cut him now, which would be a $20.3 million dead cap hit. However, the Jaguars won't see the $794,000 in cap savings until June the 1st. He caught 20 passes for 239 yards and 2 touchdowns last year before he played
10 games.
Yeah, before he tore his meniscus. So Gabe Davis out of a job as the Jacksonville Jaguars tried to give Trevor Lawrence all these weapons. It blew up in their face, and now he has virtually nobody to throw the football to.
And props to Chiefs fans. We were inundated with text that said, go out and get Gabe Davis. That usually happens. And it didn't happen, so props to you all. That's what's trending for this Wednesday. Speaking of Wednesday, Jefferson's the Wednesday lunch partner of Cody and Gold. Jefferson's has a new happy hour that's here to save you money. 7 days a week. Enjoy half off appetizers. I actually had these. They're very good. And half off your bar tab at Jefferson's Lenexa and Jefferson's North Kansas City. You heard me right. Half off your bar tab during happy hour. That's insane. Not to mention Monday, all-day happy hour. Then they have great deals as well throughout the week, including wings, burgers, and oysters on different nights. Jefferson's, big-time place, a lot of fun. Love going to Jefferson's.
Can't say I've ever been.
Oh, it's...
What? You've never been to Jefferson's?
I love it. It's good stuff, especially the one in KC's. I went to one Lenexa recently. I went to the trivia night that they had at the Jefferson's, and I did enjoy the happy hour specials.
Yeah, Jefferson's is great.
I have to try it. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, you definitely have to try it. If you haven't been before, yeah.
So there's some Tom Brady stuff out there we'll get to in a little bit because I do want to address it. But we got to address the Royals and the White Sox. We do have Josh Vern coming up in about 20 minutes talking all things Kansas City Royals. But the White Sox reminded me, and listen, the Rockies have less wins. They're bad, really bad, and so are the White Sox. White Sox, historically bad last year, 121 losses, rare air for them. In the modern era, they took the, again, they should put L's on those jerseys. They suck. There's no other way to dress a pig. They're bad. And yes, you could say they're pitching better than last year. Okay, they're doing some of that. But they're still a really, really bad team. And it was comical what happened in the ninth inning. And if you're a White Sox fan, you have to wonder, first of all, why you're a White Sox fan. I get it, though. You're loyal. You want to stay with them. That's fine.
Yeah, if you grew up on the South Side, right?
Yeah.
That's nature of the beast. I'm sure a lot of people would have asked that about us 20 years ago. I mean, for me, growing up in Kansas City, it's like, why are you a Royals fan?
Yeah.
Why are you putting yourself through
loyal.
this?
And you know what? It's fun when you start winning.
Yeah, it
then
is.
you are there with the bad time.
And they had good I mean, that was the worst part about being a Royals fan.
They were 500 2 years ago.
In the 2000s was that they had good players. Those good players just never stuck around. Like Johnny Damon didn't stick around. Carlos Beltran didn't stick
Jermaine
around.
Dye.
Joaquim Soria, Jermaine Dye, Zach Greinke. None of those guys stuck around because the previous ownership, not to disparage, refused to pay anybody. And so, yeah, I watched the Royals because I liked Mike Sweeney and David DeJesus, and those were the only guys you could really hang your hat on until they got good in the mid-2010s, right around the time that I was in high school or finishing up high school. So, I mean, for those that are like, why are you a White Sox fan? You got to be there for the good and be there for the bad, right? If you were a White Sox fan,
it's really bad.
It's really bad. If you were a White Sox fan in the early to mid 2000s when they had Jim Tomei and Konerko and Frank Thomas and those great teams, they win a World Series, and now you're arguably in the midst of the worst 5-year stretch of any team in the history of Major League Baseball. You take the good with the bad. That's how fandom works.
It gets real July 5th. That's when they play the Rockies for 3 in Colorado. That's when it gets real. White Sox versus the Rockies. That will be must-see TV.
Somebody got to
Comedy Central, get on this.
Somebody should call Rob Manfred and make sure that 3-game series is on national television.
Thank you.
It's got to be. It's got to be on national television and just have a repeating loop of Abbott and Costello music playing underneath the broadcast for 3 hours,
good.
please.
So good. So much. We need comedy relief at times. This is the perfect fix for that when the White Sox
over
play Colorado.
4th of July weekend.
Oh, perfect.
Beautiful,
perfect.
baby.
Hot dogs, beer, White Sox, Rockies. Think about it, Drew. That would drive you to drink, actually, Drew.
No, okay. So I drink. I just don't drink beer.
Well,
It's
this
not
might
like I
have
don't
you drink
consume-
beer, though.
I don't think
Coors
that'll
Light,
ever-
baby. Colorado.
Hey, it's good.
You're not interested in the series?
Oh, the series I'm interested in. I'm
I'm
not talking about. I'm talking about the alcohol part. I can watch baseball.
You won't watch
without
this.
having
You won't
alcohol.
watch this. You won't watch this. White Sox in Colorado, you won't watch.
I have an idea. So this series comes up 4th of July weekend.
Yes.
We gotta create a game where you have to shotgun a beer every time somebody comes up to the plate, hitting below them and
It
does a
actually
line.
starts on the 4th of July. You're right.
It does.
Fourth,
Yeah,
fifth,
first
sixth, and
game's
seventh,
on. First game is a night game on 4th of July.
Sweet, even better.
Under the lights, you're shooting.
Even better.
Fireworks are going off outside.
Joey Chestnuts just set another record. Oh.
You got Rockies White Sox going on inside. It's great. You shotgun a beer every time somebody hitting below 200 steps up to
Love
the
it.
plate. You will
Love
black out before the 4th inning's over.
Love it.
If it's not a beer, I'm down.
I mean, what else are you going to shot? You going to shotgun a White Claw over
fireworks.
there?
He's shooting fireworks now. Drew's the changed man.
I mean, give me a can of, I don't know, we've had like Four Hands, or we've had Jeremy Danner from Four Hands come in.
Mm.
I'll have a seltzer.
A really important question,
Ooh,
Drew.
Shotgun a seltzer? I feel like that would absolutely kill you.
What are we doing at 1 o'clock this Friday? Because that's the what do you call it now? It used to be Club 610. Was it 96.5?
Fan club is what we call it now.
Fan club. All right.
But you drink during this time.
Yes, sir.
Logan's not a big drinker.
I'm not, but I had some coffee related
Yeah,
beverages.
some spiked coffee last
weekend. It was fun.
Are we gonna get hammered?
No, we're not.
Why?
I'll make sure that it doesn't happen.
Why? Last hour of the
Because-
show, lead up right to CDOT. Good segue.
I don't
I
know.
don't think it's a good segue.
I don't know about you, Bink, but I'm less concerned about what happens in that hour as the show concludes. But I'm concerned about getting myself home after the the show
Correct.
concludes.
Fridays are made for Uber. Just take me straight to the. You want a happy
you
hour?
drove here.
You want to go drink some beer after the show Friday?
I don't drink
I'm
beer,
inviting
so
you now, just like you didn't invite us to Logan and I to get breakfast this
You
morning.
can have beer, Bink. That's fine. but
Okay, I'll get you a cocktail.
I'll have a cocktail
Logan,
on
you're
Friday.
invited
for-
as well.
for-
You're
for
always
the fan
invited.
club.
I
Appreciate it.
invite people, Logan.
He's going to be here already.
I know, but at least I'm putting the invitation out a couple days in advance, Drew. It's the way things work around here, right? You invite people.
I didn't know that. Hang on, a second.
coworkers especially. You invite them to go do fun things.
I didn't know today, or I didn't know on Monday that I was going to take a trip to the gas station before the show on Wednesday.
You always do, though.
This was no, I don't always go. I didn't go yesterday.
You used to. Every time I was with you, you did.
I used to. I didn't go yesterday. I didn't go Monday.
I know. You haven't been doing it lately, and then you do it today, and you didn't ask Logan and I what we wanted, which is great. We're going to pay
Sorry
you.
about that. I'm sorry about that.
You could have done it. But I have this very important question when it comes to the crappy White Sox. Is this the worst team in professional sports? Like, there are some choices. And I get
Currently?
the Rockies have a worse record, but things can change on the 4th of July. That's a road game, road series for the White Sox. But is that the worst team in professional sports you've seen?
Like
it was tough. It's tough to argue what happened in the ninth yesterday.
I mean, ever or
No, just right now. Is that the worst team in professional sports?
Oh man. I mean, I'm looking at. I mean, honestly, yeah, probably. I mean,
I know the Rockies have a worse record, but I don't know that there's
even
a worse
the
team than the White
worst,
Sox.
even the worst teams in the NFL are, they're winning 3 or 4 games, and it's not like a year to year to year sort of a thing. You've got.
The Patriots are bad. The Jets were bad.
Yeah,
Jets found a way to win 5 games.
Like before
Cleveland
this season,
was terrible.
Before the NBA season, finished the way that I would have said, no, the Detroit Pistons have been the worst organization in professional sports for the last decade. But to go from 14 wins last year and this year you leapfrog to a 44-38 record, it changes things completely. You go from being dead last in the league to winning 30 more games and you make the playoffs. So yes, to answer your question, yeah, I believe that the Chicago White Sox are currently the worst organization in North American professional sports.
Thank you. I agree with you 100%. And when Denny says it's in his top 5, Denny's seen a lot of baseball. He's seen more baseball than almost any human being in this country. Honestly, he probably has. I mean, Denny has seen from day one with the Kansas City Royals. Denny's in the Hall of Fame for a reason. Drew, is this the worst team in professional sports, the White Sox?
I think it's tough to say, just based on.
I don't know how tough it is.
In the NBA, there are some teams that are certainly very, very bad, whether it be the Washington Wizards
Washington sucks.
or the Utah Jazz.
God, you hate Utah.
No, I'm just they're the worst team in the NBA, Bink. They have the highest odds, I believe, in the
hockey
lottery.
team just went to the Mammoth today.
Yeah, I think the logo's awesome, but I think it's hard to. In baseball, certainly, obviously, it's the White Sox, but the worst in sports. I mean, are we talking pro sports or any
Pro
sport?
sports. Pro sports are the White Sox the worst team in pro sports.
The Wizards isn't a bad one. Now that I'm looking at it,
but I was going to say, if you look at roster construction and all that stuff, I mean, some teams are just built to lose right now in certain sports.
They won 18 games though,
out of 82.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see where the White Sox sit after 82.
Utah and the Wizards. The Wizards are a good one. I mean, last year they won, 15 games?
It would have to be an NBA team, I think, in terms of how bad they are. Because hockey, it's hard to, because hockey teams are trying. I don't think hockey teams tank, to my knowledge.
I think the White Sox are
you know better
trying.
than me.
They won 15 games 2 years ago, the Washington Wizards. They won 18 this year.
But it's just the expressions from that team. Like Cam Boozer, the pitcher. He was looking around like, what in the hell is going on behind me? I mean, seriously. The rest of the White Sox team was like, are you kidding me? This can't get any worse. The Royals were trying to be professional about it, but they even had to smile.
So I just want to look at this. I'm actually changing my answer as we speak here, Drew, because I'm looking at the Washington Wizards. Bink, last year, despite the fact that the White Sox lost 125 games, their win percentage was 25.3%. They won a quarter, roughly, of the games they played in last year. The Washington Wizards had a winning percentage of 22% this year, and they were worse last year.
Yeah.
I think it's the Washington Wizards. I think the Washington Wizards are the worst organization in North American sports. Yeah, I'm going with the Wizards. Based off of winning percentage, it's the Wizards. Yikes.
If you were to put a bubble, though, if you were to make a playoff of worst teams, then the White Sox are absolutely one of the higher seeds in regards to the worst.
Well, Carrington yesterday was doing a segment the last time the White Sox beat the Royals. There's been 2 NFL drafts last time they beat the Royals. Two.
I mean, yeah, that's brutal. That's brutal.
And they've played how many times?
Vern had hair the last time the White Sox beat the Royals.
Jeez.
That's crazy. 2 NFL, and they've played what? 14, 15 games against each other?
They beat them in April
then?
last year. They beat them one time last year. Out of 13 times.
That's brutal, man.
You have a hot take, Bink. Somebody, there's a couple people who are mentioning the unfortunate struggles of sporting KC right now.
Yeah.
You think soccer overall just stinks. You don't like soccer.
It's not fun, especially watching them. I know they won a game the other day, and people are like, oh, hey, Sporting won, beat LA. They won without having a shot on goal. Like, how do you do that, Logan? How is that even possible to win a game
the own goal,
and you don't shoot? I know that. Obviously, Drew, it had to happen because they won the game. But, like, you didn't shoot on goal and you won a game. How is that exciting? As a sports fan, how is that exciting to watch?
That doesn't mean that the game was – because, Bink, there are – you can watch a football game.
The media game is probably better.
You can watch a football game, and the game can be really low scoring, but it can be a very entertaining game.
Oh, I agree with
and
that.
still be low scoring. Where soccer, if it's 1-0, that's very. I mean, it's as low scoring as it gets, essentially, other than a 0-0 draw. I mean, a game can still be exciting while it's low scoring. Obviously, with no shots on goal, though,
that's bad.
It's tough.
That's bad. Do you actually like soccer because you like it, or do you like it because everybody says you need to like it?
I think I like soccer because I like it. Like if any of you watch the Champions League semifinal, second leg yesterday between Inter Milan and Barcelona, it's one of the best semifinal legs you'll ever see. It's one of the best semifinals you'll ever see, period. And we're talking about the best of the best. I mean, if you search for really good soccer, you can find really good soccer out there. And I think it's because I like soccer. Like I need my guy Rob Brenton in here to help explain it, because Rob's more of a soccer fanatic than I am. And I mean, I like soccer, but Rob loves soccer.
Drew, you like a lot of stuff. Where would you like every sport, really? It's one of the guys I can talk NASCAR with, college football with. You can talk anything with Drew. Where would you put soccer?
In terms of a sport?
Professional sports. Do you like to sit down, grab a few beverages, maybe make some nachos, and watch?
I don't know, not really, because normally soccer's on in the morning, traditional as it's the afternoon. Like yesterday,
good teams are.
Yesterday, I didn't have anything to eat, while I was watching the Champions League game. I was just enjoying it just for the way that it was yesterday. I wasn't focused on eating food while I was watching it. No, I think soccer is I would say it's a top 5 sport in terms of the professional ranks. I really enjoy watching soccer.
What do you have? Football 1.
Yeah, football's 1.
Pro and college, I assume.
I mean, you said pro sports.
Yeah, it's like a.
I just say, let's throw college in there because you like it a lot.
Okay.
Pro sports, okay. And then Major League Baseball?
No, I like the NBA.
NBA? Okay.
I love the NBA.
Then Major League Baseball.
In terms of what I like or what I consume the most of?
What you like, Drew? What's actually fun to watch?
What's fun to watch, I think hockey's higher on the list than baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
Even in the Royals, even in the White Sox last night in the 9th, because that was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
NBA, NHL, NASCAR. I think you'd put NASCAR ahead of soccer.
I think I would put NASCAR ahead of the NHL as well. I mean, I love NASCAR.
So now we're down to about 6 or 7 with soccer.
I think soccer, I would put, in terms of my enjoyment of watching the sport, I think soccer is right there. It might be above baseball in terms of enjoyment of watching the sport.
Well, I get the EPL and all this is good. They need to bring games here,
I've watched
regular season games like we have the Jaguars that go to London all the time.
The KC Current games are on TV sometimes. They're on.
I know.
A lot of times.
And do you watch them?
KBC. I love watching the Current play. So I'll sit down and I'll watch a whole Current game without a problem. I don't get bored.
Because I have so many people that you say, well, I love soccer. I love local things. Well, do you watch it? Do you sit down and make it a point to watch it? Or is it because it's Apple TV and you don't care, you don't buy the subscription, you're like, I don't care.
Soccer is one of those sports to me, and I feel the same way at times with baseball. I have trouble watching it on TV. I feel like I have to be there, right? I went to a Current game last year for my niece's birthday and was completely shocked by how much I enjoyed being at the stadium and watching the game. It was a fun atmosphere to be a part of. My biggest problem with soccer, there's too many damn rules. Too many. I cannot stand, and maybe I'm an idiot for this, right? This is just showing my ineptitude with the game of soccer. I think the offsides rule in soccer is the most preposterous rule I've ever heard of in my life. Oh, we're just going to bail out the defense for being in bad position? Like, hey, if there's a guy back there on the opposing team that's sitting there waiting on, it's called cherry picking. People in basketball do it all the time. I mean, like, you're bailing the defense out in that. No wonder your game's in 1-0.
I mean,
you're making life impossible. Yes, and I can't stand it in hockey either. I don't understand the offsides rule. There is no onsides in this. There's no lines. You're not lining up for a first or second down and 10. Why are we doing this? If the defense doesn't want the offense to get behind them, then don't allow it. Stay behind stay behind your man, right? It's zone coverage in football. I can't stand that about the game of soccer or hockey.
People locally will watch sporting, right? If they do, if they do have Apple TV, they'll watch. But they're not going to sit there and watch Columbus play Cincinnati. Like other sports, you'll watch other teams besides your local ones.
Did you just say that are you watching the Rockies play the White Sox?
Hell yeah, I'm kidding. That's fun, Drew.
How many people do you think in Kansas City are going to watch the White Sox play the Rockies?
Sickos who love chaos.
Maybe none. I will.
If the game's even available.
Fair. Probably won't be. Fair.
So I think I think that in some regard, the hockey playoffs are on. We don't have a team in Kansas City.
It's fun to watch, though.
I understand
the
that.
NHL playoffs have been great.
I understand, but I think
there's winners. There's somebody that wins.
For the same reason, there's somebody that won in yesterday's Champions League game where the stakes are as high as they could possibly be in all but the championship game. I think that there's...
And if I went to Target right now and asked 10 people, how many people would know the winner of the game?
I'm not sure.
I don't think any.
If it makes you and Rob feel any better, I really like Ted Lasso. I've watched that show 3 times.
See, you've got Logan here talking about Ted Lasso, man. This is the problem.
Whoa, what's wrong with Ted Lasso?
No, it's fine, but
that's a top 5 show I've ever seen in my life.
I haven't seen a single episode of that show.
It's so good. It is so phenomenal. And you like soccer, so you like it even more than I do. I love Ted Lasso.
It seems like kind of a forced taste. I have to like it. Everybody likes it. I have to like it. Well, do you sit down and watch it?
That's probably why I haven't watched it.
It's so good.
You say you like it and all this, but you sit down and do you watch it? Do you enjoy a winning game where you don't have a shot on goal? That seems really, really difficult
Strange
to
one.
do.
It is. It's a strange one.
Josh Vernier, Royals insider, hair loss aficionado. Next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City, proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. Come in today for incredible anniversary savings across the store. You'll find some of the hottest prices of the year, now through May 20th only. From fresh produce to family favorites, don't miss the unbeatable prices at every Cosentino's location. For 77 years, it's been our family's honor to serve yours, and we're just getting started.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. Classes start May 14th. Apply now and save with no application fee. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
One of the busiest times of the year is here, and Smokehouse Barbecue is going to make things a whole lot easier. Grad parties, Mother's Day, and baseball. For your grad party, you can pick up carryout or have it delivered. Smokehouse also has banquet rooms at each location for your grad party. Bring mom to Smokehouse for Mother's Day and treat her to the best barbecue in town. And if you're heading to a ball game, grab Smokehouse carryout and take it to the game. Check out Smokehouse Barbecue in Independent, Zona Rosa, or Gladstone, and at smokehousebbq.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
For Mother's Day this year, knock mom's fuzzy socks off with a digital photo frame by Aura that you have thoughtfully preloaded with lots of photos of you two. Name the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter. Aura frames come with unlimited storage, so you can share as many photos as you want right from your phone to mom's Aura frame. This is a no-brainer. It is so unique. It is so original. You cannot lose. Not only will she be grateful that it's not another sweater, she'll also love that an Aura frame means she gets to see more of you. And that's really all she wants, to feel close to you and know that you're thinking of her just as often as she thinks of you. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day too. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's AURAframes.com. Promo code ROAM. Support the station by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
My perfect day has sand, salt water, and friends. But my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Welcome back. Cody and Gold, Jay Binkley, Logan Weber, Drew Nixon producing the operation. No, Cody and Gold were not suspended. They did make it back from Springfield. They're in California. Nick Schwartz getting married. Remember Nick? Nick was here before Drew. I like them both. Nice guys, except for the quick trip thing. I think that was a joke. Terrible by you, Drew. Joining us now, the aficionado in the Kansas City Royals and hair loss, Josh Vern here. What's up, Vern?
Be honest, Bink. They were suspended.
They were suspended.
Come on.
I haven't been told that.
I mean, stop being such a company man.
What were they suspended for, Vern?
I don't know, but for you to bring that up tells me that they were suspended and you're covering for them.
The
I don't
text
know
line
what
says
happened,
that.
but- right, that's what I think too. And methinks the lady doth protest too much.
All right, Vern, how excited are you for the 4th of July, right?
I thought you were going to say for the White Sox.
No,
Okay,
the
go
White
ahead, I'm
Sox
sorry.
and the Rockies, July 4th, man. Tell me you're
USA,
going to pay
baby.
attention to who wins that game.
I will
Series.
not. No, I will not. I will not watch that game. And if you are watching that game like you said you would
Text line is.
You're a sicko. You're all sickos.
What?
No, there's going to be a better game on. If you love baseball,
Well,
go watch a different game.
I can't find one better than that. By the way, Denny Matthews last night on the call, he puts it like in the top 5 most embarrassing moments for team. Denny's seen everything, man. Denny
And
has
that's
seen,
not opposition. He was
No.
including some of those
Yeah.
garbage Royals.
Yeah. The 9th inning was comical. I tuned into you like I always do after Royals games and wanting to hear from the fans. Of course, they were all jubilant and excited, but half of them were trashing the team the whole game until they actually won. That's kind of how it goes. Had you ever in your life, and you've seen a ton of baseball,
No,
from the
not that.
Tigers, the Brewers, the Royals, ever seen anything like that?
No, not the ball hitting the dude in the head.
That was
on
awesome.
The infield. It was awesome.
It's so
I mean,
awesome.
do you know how good he needs to be to outrun that? I mean, George Brett is George Brett, and he had to win a World Series for people to forget about the hemorrhoids in 1980. Chase Medroth. Yeah, I mean, he's about 3,000 hits away from me forgetting about what happened last night.
I mean, just everything. The throw to second base that pulled to second base, but I was just
my
everything
goodness.
they were doing. And I don't care about the last hit from Bobby Witt Jr.
the right
They tried to
fielder
get
could
it
have-
didn't matter.
The right fielder could have taken that second baseman off the hook if he would have made a nice throw to second, right? It wouldn't have gone down as an error, just a fielder's choice, no big deal.
They put 5 infielders in for Bobby Witt Jr. He didn't care, man. He just plans one to the wall.
Yeah. No, that and what it doesn't hurt because who cares about the White Sox? They're, to me, the easiest team to hate in the division.
I don't hate them. I love them.
Sure, when you're 14-1 against them, dating back to the beginning of last season, yeah, you love them.
Yeah.
Build a house for them in Kansas City. Build a practice facility
That's right.
for them. Keep them here.
Statues.
But they were playing so well, Bink. The first 7.5 innings of last night's game, I'm going, wow, Will Venable's done a terrific job. He has these young guys playing some high-quality baseball. They just lack talent right now, and then it just puked.
Well, as Blues fans will tell you, it's not over until it's over.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
When
Poor sweet Blues fans.
When your opponent's making a mistake, don't get in their way. Vern, I want to ask you, we talk a lot. Of course, everybody's talking about Bobby. We've heard a lot more talk recently about how well Maikel Garcia's played and the top part of the bullpen and the starting pitching rotation. But, man, there are some unsung heroes in this Royals bullpen that I feel like aren't getting their just due. What can you tell us about the play of somebody like Daniel Lynch going from a starter to a reliever? And specifically, I want to talk about Steven Cruz.
Sure.
Where in the world did this guy come from that he's now got, 10 appearances this year? He's pitched 9 innings and hasn't given up an earned run.
Yeah, acquired him from the Twins in the Michael A. Taylor deal. Obviously, oddly enough, Michael A. Taylor in town as a member of the White Sox. Him and the lefty, Evan Sisk, that we saw come up a few weeks ago, came over in that Michael A. Taylor trade. You could throw John Schreiber in there as well. He's put up a 0 in 11 of his last 12 appearances. You mentioned Daniel Lynch. And listen, Hunter Harvey on the IL, to me, he was your best reliever when he went down with that injury. To think that 3 different relievers have stepped up in the absence of Harvey, who we're likely to see hopefully go out on a rehab assignment later on this week if everything turns out well today. Hopefully see Harvey on the hill Thursday or Friday maybe in a rehab assignment. So you're about to get a guy that can make a case as the best reliever back to a group that has a ERA of around 2.5 if you date back to the beginning of April. So you're going to have your big 3 at the back end of the bullpen, a big 3 that Urseg, Estevez, and Hunter Harvey, I'll put it up against any big 3 right now in Major League Baseball. And now, Steven Cruz, Taylor Clark's looked really good since he came back to the big leagues. Daniel Lynch, John Schreiber, the decision that needs to be made when Hunter Harvey returns is, to me, fairly obvious. To me, it's going to be the end of the road for Chris Stratton. I just don't see how you send Taylor Clark out, how you send Steven Cruz back to Omaha. I understand you want to maintain inventory and have options because there's still 3 quarters of the season still remaining. But these guys are pitching too well to keep someone that isn't, and Chris Stratton hasn't in a long time.
And as far as Seth Lugo is concerned, Vern, the 4 straight quality starts, 5 of his 8 quality starts. Not the best game, but I don't care, man. I was listening to you in the post game. He gives up 1 earned run. Was he as perfect as he's been in the past? No, but who cares? He's getting the job done. I think that the criticism on the Royals pitching is a little too harsh at times because it's carrying this team, and I think there's other ways and other areas of this team to look at. But this pitching, man, I don't criticize a 1 earned run performance at all.
Right. 6 2/3 of 1-run baseball. His ERA is now 2.84. Second most innings thrown in all of Major League Baseball. It's wild what the standard is now for a Royal starting pitcher. That 6 2/3 of 1-run baseball was met by a lot of, he was all right. That was the attitude I was getting from a lot of Royals fans last night on the post-game show. And again, that's just a reflection of, we saw Cole Reagans punch out 11 the night before in 5 shutout innings. We've seen 5 shutouts in the past 11 games. This rotation is clearly the best in the American League and can make a very strong case up against the Mets as being the best in Major League Baseball. And now, from Reagans and Lugo to the 2 pitchers that Fangraph says have been the 2 best on the team, Michael Wacha tonight, Chris Bubic going in the finale. And, man, if you want to dive deeper into that rotation, you have Kyle Wright making his second rehab start tonight down in AA. Noah Cameron threw last night down in AAA. The trade deadline's a few months away. I mentioned Hunter Harvey coming back, man. I really don't. It doesn't matter where you look when it comes to this ball club right now. Even where you have questions, it appears if those questions are not answered the way that we want them to be answered, there are reinforcements offensively, defensively, in the bullpen, and in the rotation.
Yeah, Bubic is the guy I wanted to talk to you about, Vern. I don't know if anybody saw this coming, fresh off the Tommy John surgery, a sub-2 ERA through his first 7 starts this year. From what you've seen and what you've heard, there's going to be a fall back to reality at some point, but what is the reality for Chris Bubic this season? Is he a legitimate guy you can look at and say he might finish the year with a sub-3 ERA and be a Cy Young candidate of sorts?
You know, you hear so many starting pitchers talk about, 1/3 of the time I take the hill and I have my best stuff. The other third I have awful stuff. And the other third it's hit and miss and you kind of have to grind through 5 or 6 innings. The thing that hurts a guy like Chris Bubic and quite a few big leaguers is when you don't have that, and you guys know this, when you don't have that 98-mile-per-hour heater like Cole Reagan's, when you don't have 15 pitches like Seth Lugo, those days where you're grinding, for a guy like Chris Bubic, man, that command still needs to be pretty darn sharp. Now, when he's using all 5, 6 of his offerings and able to put them in all 4 quadrants whenever he wants, that's how you arrive at a sub-2 ERA. And no one saw this coming. I think there were high hopes for Bubic. That allows you to trade away a guy in Brady Singer. Let's remember, at the beginning of 23, first year with Matt Quatraro in the new pitching department, Chris Bubic was our first glimpse that, wow, things might be changing, right? It looked like the Chris Bubic that we all envisioned in 2022 when you would read Alec Lewis in The Athletic, exposing the desire that Bubic had to throw a different arsenal out there, and that he was being kind of shackled by the pitching department. So there was high hopes for Bubic going into the injury and coming out of the injury. Well, you saw what he did out of the bullpen last season. Do I think he's a Cy Young Award candidate at the end of the season? Likely not. But Michael Wacha wasn't a Cy Young Award candidate last season, and he had a 3.5 ERA, a career high, or not a career high, but the most innings pitched he had thrown since 2017. There's no reason to me why Chris Bubic can't end the year as one of the 25 best pitchers in the American League. No, he's not in the Cy Young conversation, but he is. I think Chris Bubic could get to a place where he's viewed in an even warmer light than Brady Singer was. And I think Singer, a league average to a slightly above league average pitcher, is viewed upon, well, good enough to part with a guy like Jonathan India. I think Chris Bubic could take that step up. And, okay, you're not a Cy Young Award candidate. Maybe you're not a perennial all-star guy, but you are someone that when the career is over, you made it to 1 or 2 Midsummer Classics. So there's obviously the talent in there. And like we've seen so far this season, just like Jason Vargas in 2017, he could put together a 3.5-month stretch that can find him in the All-Star game for sure.
Vern, about 220 or so people went down to Springfield to watch Jack Caglianone. I know you've never been asked the Cags question, but I do trust you on this. And you've seen the maturity of guys when they get to professional baseball. And I compared it with Logan earlier with football. Like football, you expect these guys to play right away. In baseball, you don't want to ruin them. Like you have to be careful with it. You either have that mental toughness or you don't. This kid appears
to
have that.
You don't fail that much in football.
Yeah, you don't. Three out of 10, you're in the Hall of Fame if you get hits. Right. But with Cags, in the way he's crushing AA, obviously the AAA move is coming sooner rather than later. I think the biggest luxury, it's not when Bobby came up, because that was just fun. That was just icing on the cake to go watch Bobby Witt Jr. play. This team's good. And would he fit into what the Royals need? I think he would, to be honest with you. But there's no hurry because you don't want to ruin the kid. In your opinion, what's best for this kid, Cags? A lot in AAA, ever get to Kansas City? In your opinion, what's the best? Because obviously you know this stuff better than us.
Yeah, I think he needs to be challenged. And as long as AAA remains a consistent challenge, let him stay there. I remember Dane Moore always talked about, you can only grow as your competition grows, or you're just going to hit a ceiling if you keep beating up on the same bums. And that's what it looks like he's doing right now in AA. Listen, I'm not watching all 9 innings of Jack Caglianone, so I can't give an expert analysis, but the highlights, the numbers, and everything that you hear about him, yeah, it certainly points to why wouldn't you bump him up to AAA coming up on Monday after this series?
Did the fact he played in the SEC change things, make him better?
Well, the fact that certainly, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's better than coming out of high school.
Yeah, that's right.
Not having any sort of. I think Cags compared it to like high A. Now that he's played at AA, now that he's played in the spring training against big leaguers and AAA arms. Yeah, I think he compared SEC baseball to an A-level product. So, yeah, you're certainly ahead of some others that are a year removed from the draft. But my stance has always been the same with Cags. You're not going to bring him up to have him as a savior. He's going to be called up as a weapon.
Yep.
And, the team's winning. The offense is doing enough. Yeah, you can slide him into the 7-8 spot, and as he builds confidence and starts putting up numbers, he can find his way up that lineup. If everything goes well, and so far everything has, he's dominated at AA the way that he should, right? If we're talking about this guy going to contribute to the big leagues, he better hit 330 in AA. He better have an OPS north of 1,000 if he's going to hit big league pitching. So go do that in AAA, and once he does that in AAA, sure, call him up.
So looking at where the Royals sit right now, they've won 13 of their last 15 games. You're 5 games above 500. We give a lot of credit to the pitching, obviously, for that. 5 shutouts in the course of these last, 15 games that they've participated in. But you're starting to see some guys at the plate, I think, get a little bit more comfortable. Jonathan India is hitting the ball a little bit better. Vinny Pasquantino's hitting the ball better. Salvi's hitting the ball a little bit better. Are you starting to get a little bit more confident in the offensive output of this baseball team as we head into mid-May here?
No question about it, Logan, because, and I think we all, and I heard you mention this the other day as well. Listen, is Maikel Garcia going to hit 385 like he has over the course of this 15-game stretch? No, probably not, but, Vinny Pasquantino's also not going to maintain a sub-200 batting average for much longer. The offensive skids of April led to a lot of repetitive post-game shows where my response was simply, hey, if India, Vinny, and Massey are bringing nothing to the plate on a nightly basis, this team's going to stink all year offensively. You had to get 2 of those 3 going, and like you mentioned, Jonathan India getting on base at a pretty consistent pace, and Vinny Pasquantino starting to not just square it up, but keep it fair. Those guys coupled with Bobby, who has been solid all season, Salvi, whose track record speaks for itself. You knew that those loud outs were eventually going to start to find grass. I'm not saying Maikel's going to have a major drop-off. There's no reason to believe that this young man can't hit 280 to 300. I'm not saying that Drew Waters is going to have a massive fall-off, but this team, this offense, was always being held captive by the big bats and always will be, shackled to those big bats at the top. This team's only going to go as far as India, Bobby, Vinny, and Salvi take them. Now, eventually, the hope is with Maikel, with Drew Waters, with maybe a trade deadline acquisition and Jack Caglianone, you're talking about a 1 through 9 where, 8 of the guys can beat you with one swing of the bat. And it's all kind of setting itself up for a run to the end of July into that trade deadline where everyone's just fighting for a spot to remain on this playoff team as they take aim at a division title.
Great stuff. Our Royals insider, Josh Vern. Vern's the best. Vern, would you like to take this opportunity to make fun of Drew? Because earlier this morning, right, he's running to Quick Trip to get some things. He didn't ask Logan, and he didn't ask me, hey, would you guys want anything? As he went, he failed to do that. I told him that's not what we do around here. Everybody asked.
Had he already seen you guys?
Yeah, but he didn't ask, Vern. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I thought it was pretty Bush League.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, clean it up. Come on, be a teammate one time here.
That's right, Drew. That's all we're asking. Just step up, man. Character concerns on this one.
Now, Drew is helping me out tonight. He is going to jump on the on deck show and help make the people some money. So I guess I can't.
Well, let's hope for it. Let's hope for it.
Let's hope for that. All right, Vern. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, thank you.
There you go, Drew.
You're just not letting go of this.
Well, the Royals insider even said that you were in the right.
All right, so tomorrow.
And Vern's always right.
So that is right. So tomorrow, Logan, you're not going to be doing the show tomorrow. On Friday.
No, I'll be here tomorrow.
You'll be here tomorrow too?
Yep. Yeah, I'm in tomorrow.
So
he decided he'll be here.
All right, so tomorrow I will show up. Like, what do you guys want, huh?
This man's gonna bring us stuff. Oh, dear God.
Let me
I'm asking you.
One of those donuts. It's like an old-fashioned type thing.
You're way too specific.
What are you asking for caviar next?
I'll show you a picture of it. No caviar. I'll show you a picture
stop
of the
by
donut.
McDonald's on the way here. Do you want anything from McDonald's?
Oh, a burrito in that case.
A sausage and egg burrito?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll pay you. Okay. Maybe.
You want anything, Logan?
I'll take a sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle.
There you go. This is how you do things, Drew.
I'll
what a guy.
I'll have to send a text tomorrow morning, or I'll have to set a reminder.
This is how you do things. You
get it
ask
on the way
Logan
here.
what he wants.
You know?
You ask myself what. We're a team.
I'm
I
trying
invited
to
you to
make up- I'm
beers
trying to
on
make up
Friday.
for it.
Logan heard me. I invited Drew to happy hour.
He did. I can't confirm.
Yep.
I'm trying to
That's
make
how
up
things
for
are
it,
done,
right?
Drew. Team.
I agree. I provide good teamwork. I think I do a fairly good job of that. But in certain situations, evidently, the one this morning, I failed to consider you guys and if you want anything from Quick Trip. So
I will say this.
apologize for that.
I will say this. I'm a big fan of your podcast. I'll say something nice about you. The 249 miles of college football is outstanding.
And likewise, I'm a big fan of your podcast, and I'm a big fan of when you guys,
Thanks, Drew.
both of you guys, do after hours.
Appreciate that.
Thank you, Drew. It's nice of you. And I feel like we're getting along now. People were worried about that on text line earlier, that Drew's going to be mad.
Well, yeah, over the last 2 weeks, you've threatened to fight me because I'm not playing the mock. You
disrespected your own company's mock draft.
We used your mock draft. It's just that
It took some
didn't-
pulling. It took me coming in studio for you to do it.
That's not true. It's not true.
Now you got EMS playing the tornado sirens on Wednesday for mocks. Where the hell's the rain at? I thought it was going to rain today.
I think it's a little bit later. I think it's like about when the show ends, actually.
Weather people pretty accurate, aren't they? It's a lot of accuracy going on with the weather people.
Somebody in the text line just said, well, if you're making the run, Drew, can I get a steak and cheese bagel?
See, this is what we started now. This is where we've gone with this.
Oh, God.
In fairness to
I
the
am a
text
fan of
line-
roller food.
No,
You're just turning into a DoorDash before our very eyes right now.
In fairness to the text line, they have had my back before,
Yes.
whether it be from Rob's wedding.
What happened then? Oh, when you
Well, no, I got.
I rode with you.
I got the suit essentially because of the text line. Like the text line helped me.
You look good too. You look good.
Thank you. The text line helped me afford helped me get the suit that I got. So shout out to the text line. The text line obviously is fantastic.
Yeah, and he took it all off when he's dancing. He's out there dancing around.
I didn't take it all off.
No, you took the jacket off.
Yeah, I took the jacket off. You know.
Good stuff. We do want to talk some Tom Brady, though, because that was interesting stuff. I know this random question of the day. We kind of blew past that. We'll get to that in the 1 o'clock hour.
Okay.
Look at the Royals win yesterday. And, of course, we'll get to some more Tom Brady and the big trade that went down in the NFL.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
In the moments that matter most, you show up. You protect, you serve, you heal, you care. Now, let Reiselman Nissan show up for you with our Hero Appreciation Program. Kansas City's heroes get special discounts every single day. Choose from over 160 new Nissans with Kicks, Sentras, and Altimas starting as low as $399 a month, because honoring you is our privilege. Visit ReiselmanNissan.com. Every customer, every time. Reiselman Nissan.
Not all vehicles may apply. See dealer or check ReiselmanNissan.com for all details.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education, but that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
For over 8 years, QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain, with over 50,000 satisfied patients. People with knee and back pain now living pain-free. Shoulder and hip pain gone. What they're doing is nothing short of remarkable. They're using regenerative cell therapy to restore the tissue in their achy joints. They're using biologic growth factors with robust healing properties, carefully and strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life. The best part, with QC Kinetics, there are no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. It's an all-natural cellular level option with lasting relief. Imagine doing all the things you enjoy this summer without being slowed down by that awful joint pain in your knees or your back. Call QC Kinetics now and learn about these cutting-edge treatments that can help you live your best life. Call 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. It's QC Kinetics.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps, or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Legacy Box is offering a 60% discount. Order yours today and take advantage of our best Mother's Day sale ever. Visit legacybox.com/value, and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/value for 60% off. legacybox.com/value.
For Mother's Day this year, knock mom's fuzzy socks off with a digital photo frame by Aura that you have thoughtfully preloaded with lots of photos of you two. Name the best digital photo frame by Wirecutter. Aura frames come with unlimited storage, so you can share as many photos as you want right from your phone to mom's Aura frame. This is a no-brainer. It is so unique. It is so original. You cannot lose. Not only will she be grateful that it's not another sweater, she'll also love that an Aura frame means she gets to see more of you. And that's really all she wants, to feel close to you and know that you're thinking of her just as often as she thinks of you. Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day too. For a limited time, listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off plus free shipping on their best-selling Carver matte frame. That's auraframes.com, promo code ROME. Support the station by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions do apply.
Take me out to my TV on FanDuel Sports Network. Yeah, yeah. Royals games, announcers, and more Royals games. Did I mention they have the Royals? Stream now.
Hang out with Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back. 1 o'clock hour, 96.5 The Fan, home of the Kansas City Royals and the Kansas City Chiefs. Jay Binkley, Logan Weber, Alex, and Cody back. They're on a wedding out in California at this point. Drew Nixon here producing the operation. As always, the Jack Watch continues. Couple home runs yesterday. Talked to Vern about it. Vern gave a very good answer. as far as Jack. Again, it's a luxury at this point. It is something they do need. The pressure isn't 100% there because his team is winning without him. But, man, it would be nice, not just because he's good, because it would actually help this team.
It would. It's just you're running a risk there, right? I mean, you are taking a chance on, is this guy ready? And with a player that has shown the level of promise that Jack Caglianone has, with having taken him so early in this draft, taking him 6th overall last year out of Florida, the last thing you want to do is screw it up. And it's a fine line, right? You don't want to call him up too early, and you don't want to call him up too late, right? I mean, there are some people that legitimately still argue to this day that maybe the Royals waited too long on Bubba Starling. I never thought Bubba Starling was ready, but neither here nor there, right? There are more ways to mess this up than there are to get it right. And so with Cags, I look at what the Royals are doing. And yeah, you sent Melendez down because it wasn't working. Hunter Renfroe, I think the Royals should just eat the rest of his contract and open up a roster spot at this point. But Mark Canha in limited ABs playing in the outfield has done a great job. Drew Waters playing in the outfield has done a great job. So it makes the need for Jack Caglianone a little bit less, right? Vinny got off to a slow start, but he's hitting the ball much better. He's back above the Mendoza line now. He's leading the team in homers and RBIs. He's playing better baseball. So Cags
he's a team leader too. I mean,
Cags gets called up, and then what? He's a part of a platoon system, right? I feel like Jack Caglianone is the sort of player that you want to bring in and play every day. I don't want to see Jack Caglianone make his way to Kansas City in late June or July and have to split time in ABs and split starts with Canha and Waters and Isbell and Vinny and whoever else is in the outfield or playing first base, right? Because Salvi is not going to catch every day. He's going to DH some. He's going to play some first base, right? So he's going to be one of 3 guys playing first base and one of 5 guys that'll be playing the outfield. I think just give him a minute. Even Bobby Witt Jr. had a full season of minor league baseball under his belt before he arrived in Kansas City.
Different situation when he came up, obviously, with Jack. This team's much better than when Bobby came up first.
But the argument can be said that the Royals needed Bobby Witt Jr. more at that point than the Royals need Jack Caglianone now.
Yeah.
They were terrible.
For a lot of reasons.
And so by bringing in Bobby Witt Jr., you brought in, as soon as he showed up in Kansas City, he was arguably your best player. And not only that, he's the top prospect in the system. He's one of the top prospects in baseball. It increases ticket sales. It does all those things. There's less of a need for those things with Jack Caglianone, which can be beneficial, yes, because there's less pressure on Cags than maybe there was with Bobby Witt Jr. when he arrived, because they were so bad. And we were all just looking for one shining light, one brief moment of hope with this Royals team. You don't necessarily have to have that with Jack Caglianone, so he can come in and just be one of the guys. He's not looked at as the savior of the organization the same way that Bobby was. I think he needs a full year. I think you let him, you evaluate what we see. He finishes up this week. Maybe on Monday you make the call up to AAA and let him play the rest of the month of May, June, July, and then if the rosters expand in August and you want to make that move and call him up, I'm not entirely for it. But if you want to, okay, just make sure that because there's like a specific distinction that they make. I don't know if it's 100 plate appearances or something that they do, which qualifies you for a service year, which is still somewhat important. I know that the ownership group of the Royals has expressed more of a willingness to pay their guys, but you're already paying Bobby Witt Jr. a lot of money. The longer you can hold on to Jack Caglianone without having to go through a contract dispute, the better. And the last thing you want to do is waste a service year for Jack Caglianone on a month and a half of Major League Baseball.
I think it's interesting because when you call guys up, obviously the toughest decision in the organization. We've seen it before. Obviously, it was important to get Hosmer and Moose and Duffy and all those guys, and Perez, all those guys to Kansas City because they were going to be pieces to this puzzle and make the trade. And Locane was in AAA when to bring him up because that was going to be pieces to the future for the Royals. And it worked out because they went to 2 World Series. They won one of them. The Bobby Witt Jr. was interesting because that was going to be the savior of the organization, savior for the fan base going to. Now, Jack can be that too. Jack can be a guy that a lot of people rally behind and like, which he already is that guy. He had 220 people go down with Cody Gold and Drew down to Springfield to watch him play.
Yeah,
because there was huge interest in that for people doing it. But the team is better. Like, the team is better in the situation. Like, it took Hosmer and all those guys to make the team good. Bobby came up here, and the team wasn't good when he got here. Jackson would come up, and the team's already good. I will say this. Text line brings up, he played in the SEC. I actually Vern that. He said playing in the SEC is like playing high A. Like, it is tough. It is challenging. I was asked Dayton Moore, the fact that it was Brady Singer at the time, played in the SEC of Florida. A lot of times they travel better, stay in better places, have better resources than A-ball teams do when you play in the Southeastern Conference as far as baseball is concerned. You just don't want to screw it up. Like, I'm with you on that. You don't want to screw it up. But as Vern said, done everything he can in AA. Like, the question was, can he do it? He's done it. Like, he's passed that test, checked the box. So he's checked the AA box at this point. Now it's about checking the AAA box, which doesn't always mean anything. I've seen plenty of players destroy AAA. They're 4A players, and they can't do well in the pros.
Right.
But does he have the mental makeup to do it? And I think he does. He has shown that he has that mental makeup to do it. Could he help this team? They're already good without him. Do I think Jack can help him? Yes, I do. In several different areas. Obviously, outfield in the power equation. I know they hit 7 home runs in Baltimore. But let's be serious. He could definitely add to that.
So you look at, I just want to do a player-by-player here, right? Bobby Witt Jr., drafted, starts out his year in rookie ball in 1920 because of COVID. Things got derailed a little bit. I think he probably would have started that year in AA if not for the fact that the minor league season got canceled. So 2021, he kicks off really the bulk of his minor league career, playing 61 games in Northwest Arkansas. He hit .295 with a .369 on base percentage, 16 homers, 51 RBIs. So .295, 16 homers, 51 ribbies. In 28 games in Northwest Arkansas for Jack Caglianone right now, he is hitting .330 with 8 home runs and 31 RBIs. He's got a 4.0, so his batting average better,
so
his
Texas
OBP
League
is better.
Has been solved.
He's playing better in AA right now than Bobby Witt Jr. did in the same period. Now, he's played half as many games, so maybe there's if he does hit the 60 mark, then it becomes a lot more of a comparison because you're looking at he might hit 200 in AA over the next 32 games or 33 games.
You always want to see what guys do when they make the adjustment.
Yeah.
Like once you're the made guy, the known guy. Because I remember the Royals talking to him, in 14 and 15 after games. He'd come out, they'd see a player for the first time. They don't really pay attention to him until you start doing something. Once as Verlander, one of the Royals came up and hit a home run off it. He goes, well, I know not to throw him fastballs now. Because they don't really spend a bunch of time scouting players or watching what they do in AAA. They get scouting reports and everything else, but then they make the adjustment. Whit Merrifield lasted when he got to Kansas City because teams made the adjustment against him, and he made it right back.
Yeah.
And he was still a good player with this team. Can you make that adjustment when other teams are going to make that adjustment to you? That's the big thing. And to me, with Jack in AA, he's made that adjustment. These guys are all – AA is tough, man. Because a lot of these guys are getting to Major League Baseball. You're facing some of the best young players.
That's typically
in
where
this country.
That's typically where an organization's top prospects live nowadays. Is in
AAA,
AA.
you still get them, but you get a lot of the guys that didn't quite make it with the Major League team. They were finding themselves in AAA. Yeah, tweeners.
I think that's the interesting part of what your schedule process, if you will, your pitch, Logan, is let him take his time, get him up to AAA, polish him up, make sure he's really good to go in right field. Because right now we're seeing. To your point about the more talent in AA than compared to AAA, this is where it's like, okay, let's see how good he is against the guys that he's going to be playing against at some point once he gets up there. Then you get to the point where now they're starting to play him in right field a little bit more. Okay, we see the talent, he's there. You get him up to AAA, okay, we're going to make sure that all your mechanics are good in regards to right field and what we would want from you at the big field level.
Yes.
We don't even care how you hit really at AAA. Let's make sure that you're ready to go when you get to the big leagues because we've seen the talent. We know that you're going to be there relatively soon. Polish him and then get him up so then opening day next year, you gain the service year and everything like that and all of it fits. Cody was making an interesting point on Monday that by the end of June, they need to know what their plan is with him. So for within the next month and a half, they need to figure out, okay, this is what we want to do with Jack. Are we going to bring him up this year in August? Do we think he has a legit shot to get up there in August or September for playoff baseball? Do we think he can contribute for us? Do we need him to? Based on how the outfield has been playing, let's say that trend continues. Drew Waters is still consistent. Maikel Garcia is playing great. Everybody's serviceable. Maybe they switch gears where, you know what, we're not going to bring him up before the deadline because at that point, hey, if we need an extra bat, we're going to bring somebody in at the deadline who's ready to go, and then Jack can just slowly make his way through. If we think Jack does have the capability to play, like let's say he gets to right field, he's making some good plays, and the hitting is consistent even after the move to AAA. If they think that he can contribute right away in August or September, and that's a plan, then they're not going to trade for anybody. So I think by the trade deadline, it's like a mix of your two guys' conversations of if they have a good idea what he can be, if it's this year or next year, you got to figure out by the end of June, and then you can go from there. The plan that you have, I wonder if a lot more Royals fans are actually in line about what you're thinking, Logan, than they want to make. Because a lot of, like, Dusty's all about promoting him now. He wanted him in the big leagues. I think it'd be great. I think in August, it'd be wonderful. But in the back of your mind, you have to think from the Royals' perspective, we get that extra service year as well. So do we really need Jack right now? As much as it would be cool, as much as it would be a buzz for the fans and everything, is it actually worth having him and losing that time by bringing him up in August or September? Or is it actually worth just biting the bullet and having him be available in May when they start the season?
Well, the counter argument is it's a playoff team. It was a playoff team last year. Windows close relatively quick. You got to cash in. Is it good enough player to help you in the postseason? That's the question they're going to have to answer. Does he check the boxes in AAA to do it? You don't want to see a Jackson Holiday situation, which is different because it was a high school player. They went to the pros. He was drafted first overall.
Yep.
And they brought him up too quickly. And ended up batting 189 his first year with the Orioles. But he's changed around. He's hitting 272 now.
He's hitting better
around
this year.
But they had to send him right back. He came up way too early, send him back. So you have to be careful with your best commodities.
And I think that you were talking about the outfield side, and I think that's a side that we are looking at nowadays, right? Would you rather have Jack Caglianone learning to play right field in AA or AAA, or would you rather have him learning how to play right field in the show, on a playoff team, making an October push? That's a lot of pressure to put on a 22-year-old kid who's trying to learn how to play a position for quite possibly the first time in his life. And I know
but not a high school kid.
I said a college kid. I know, but
I think that's big.
I guess, but not in terms of changing positions.
He wasn't playing right field in college, though, Bink.
No, he's a first
baseman pitcher.
First baseman and pitcher. And having to learn a brand new position is a lot of pressure.
Don't make him Ohtani.
I just think that give the guy a beat. And as good a player as I think Jack Caglianone is and will be, I guess I'm gonna be the pessimist. I guess I'm gonna be the conservative guy here. I'm gonna be the glass half empty. Jack Caglianone doesn't make you a World Series contender. I don't believe he's that guy. The Royals need more than one piece to become a team that can legitimately compete for a World Series. I'm sorry. I don't see this Royals team, even with the addition of Jack Caglianone, being able to push the Dodgers or the Braves or the Padres.
You're talking about
somebody
this year,
in
right?
in a 7-game series. Jack Caglianone does not make you a legitimate World Series contender. He doesn't.
The one thing you have to be careful with is the right field thing. I think that's big, playing in the outfield. Because, as we've said a lot of times with Chiefs players, like LRZ, that was with the Chiefs, wasn't even a football player, doesn't have football in his background. Like, it is tough to play at the highest level against guys playing the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
And to ask you to go, now if he was coming up to be a first baseman, DH, something like that, that might work out better than actually asking to be in the outfield, because it does take a certain skill set to play out there. To just assume anybody can do it, you can't do that. No. It's much different if you're playing against pros.
Yes, 100%.
So we'll see what happens there, Drew.
You want to get to the random question or you want to get to Brady?
Let's get the random question.
random question.
All right, for you, Logan, for you, Bink, also for the text line, 913-586-7965. I saw this come up last night, and I was on social media trying to get off of it more often, but I was on there last night amidst the Pacers once again pulling off a crazy comeback. And one of these things came up, one of those, conversations that you have at the water cooler. What is the biggest sports what-if moment? Or biggest what-if moment in sports? There's a variety of different answers that you can go with. I think that, you could go with baseball players, you go with basketball players, you go with football players, you could go with anybody in sports, any team in sports. What's your biggest what-if in sports? 913-586-7965. There's a lot of good answers. I don't know if there's a biggest one that we can, as a consensus agree on. But to me, one of the biggest ones is Derrick Rose's knee injury. I'm not saying the Bulls win a title, but one of the biggest what-ifs is what if Derrick Rose doesn't get hurt in that series, I believe was the Philadelphia 76ers when the Bulls were the 1 seed. I mean, did they go on to go to the NBA Finals? Can they win? Do they end up winning the whole thing? I mean, if obviously the hometown kid, they'd be the first title the Bulls have had since MJ. I know, Bink, you're making fun of the White Sox for honoring the Bulls.
That's deserved, though. That's deserved.
No, I know. But I'm saying, would it be any different if Derrick Rose hadn't just screwed up his knee in that one possession? I think that's a what-if in sports. That's a solid contribution.
That's a good one.
I don't know what you guys are
That's a good one.
thinking as well.
The Derrick Rose thing, like what if Derrick Rose never got hurt, is always a good one. There's a few in the text line. Some people have mentioned, what if D Ford was onside? What if Bo Jackson didn't get hurt?
Tom Brady would have one less ring.
Bo Jackson was another popular one.
Yeah. What if Michael Jordan didn't retire to play baseball?
What if Tom Brady didn't go to the Patriots and went to the Browns?
What if Tom Brady just didn't get drafted? I don't know.
Would he be selling State Farm?
Man, I don't know.
What if Des Bryant's catches rule to catch? Hey.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because I believe that, was it the same year that did the Packers go to win the whole thing? Or did they make it to the NFC title game and then...
What if Luke Coaching?
I don't remember what year it was.
Tommy John and Wade Davis, they didn't quite know what to do with him because he was a kind of a failed starter. He becomes one of the most dominant.
These two, I think, are the biggest ones
in
this city that would be a big what if. What if the Chiefs had drafted Deshaun Watson? What if the Bills had drafted Patrick Mahomes?
Huge.
I mean, we're talking like
huge.
The last 5 to 7 years of what we've witnessed would be totally different.
Yeah.
100%. It's a major what if. Yeah, that's the biggest one.
The one that I always think of, and somebody said it in the text line. Again, I talked about this yesterday. I'm a Celtics fan. I've grown up learning about the Celtics history. I've watched all the documentaries. By the way, there's one on Amazon or HBO. It's called Celtic City. It's pretty good. I just finished it. Len Bias. Celtics are fresh off of a NBA title. You get the number 2 overall pick. Len Bias is right there, and everybody's sitting there just foaming at the mouth in 1986, thinking about Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish and Len Bias and Danny Ainge, and that roster was loaded for bear. And, the what if is, what if he doesn't, OD? And I again, it's all pure unadulterated speculation, but that 87 Celtics team becomes even better than it already was, which they ultimately end up, falling. And I think that firstly, what it does is it extends careers. If you've got Len Bias to lean on, maybe Larry's able to play a little bit longer. He's got less pressure on himself. Maybe McHale's able to play a little bit longer. Parrish is able to play a little bit longer. I think if Len Bias doesn't pass away and they continue, I think that Celtics team probably could have won another 2 or 3 titles in that decade. And Larry Bird goes from a guy that won 3 rings to a guy that might have won 6 or 7.
There's a lot of Alex Gordon's. What if Alex Gordon doesn't stop at their? What
if they sent him?
What if he's sent home? Yeah,
he would have been out.
He'd have been gunned down. But I don't care. I'd have sent him.
How about this? What if? What if Patrick Mahomes comes in at halftime against that Titans loss in 17? They lose 22-21. And Alex Smith started that game. What if Mahomes comes in? No film on the NFL from him. What if he comes in that game? Yeah. And they have no expectations on how to stop him? what is it? Because he did win the MVP in the NFL the following year. What if he comes in at halftime and the Chiefs pull a Nick Saban when he took out Jalen Hurts, who was 26-2 at the time, and put in 2 at halftime in a national title game?
This one you're not going to like. What if the Lakers drafted Jason Tatum?
No! Leave my guy alone. That's a Missouri native right there. That's St. Louis, Chaminade College Prep.
I've seen this one a couple times, too. What if they played the 2020 NCAA tournament? What if COVID doesn't ruin March Madness there? KU was the clear favorite in that tournament. You also had Obi Toppin, which is one of the best stories in college basketball with Dayton.
How often
what
does
would happen in that one?
But again, for all those Kansas fans out there that just chalk themselves up as, we were going to win the national championship in 2020, which my brother is one of those people. How often does the best team in the tournament win it?
Very good point. Very, very, very seldom does that happen. Very seldom. The last time it's really happened, I mean, you could say maybe Florida, even though they weren't the number 1 overall seed, but UConn from a couple years ago. That's the most recent one I can think of. Another one, Bink. What if Dale Earnhardt doesn't die in that accident, in that wreck? That'd be interesting. Just in terms of how popular Dale Earnhardt still is to this day. Dale Earnhardt Jr. still is to this. You see the 3. I saw a 3 flag flying at Texas when I was watching the race. I'm sure there's going to be a 3 flag somewhere in the infield on Sunday and throughout the weekend. So, I mean, there's a lot of really good. Of the Chiefs directly, yes, absolutely.
Did change around the Chiefs. Change around the city.
Ooh, that's a good one. 85 World Series. If that first base makes the correct call.
If there's replay.
If he makes the correct call there, do the Royals still win it in 7?
Don Deckinger, hero.
What if? Oh, that's a good one. What if the Bengals were good?
I mean, they were. I still think they're okay.
That's tough, dude.
They don't have a defense, Drew.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we'll see how it goes this year.
I don't go by draft grades, but every draft grade at them is the worst.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that. That's a great question.
They're addressing positions. Plus, they got rid of the DC. Apparently, Lou Anarumo was making things way too complicated.
I know.
What if they drafted DK rather than McColl? It's another good one. Speaking of DK Metcalf and the whole Steelers deal that we talked about earlier.
I still want to know.
What if Tyreek Hill?
I still want to know what would happen if Mahomes win at halftime.
What if the Boston Red Sox don't trade Babe Ruth? That's always a go. I'm just sitting here looking at some of the biggest what ifs. What if Drew Bledsoe doesn't go down against the Jets? Right? Bledsoe doesn't get hurt.
In terms of what happened, like down the line, that might be one of the biggest ones actually. In terms of like how we saw sports happen in the last 2 decades. Like Drew Bledsoe going, if he doesn't go down, who's to say Tom Brady ever gets a fair shot? I mean, maybe he turns into Jimmy G and it's just, we're going with Drew Bledsoe
and again,
Tom
what
Brady's
organization were you taking in? Does it matter?
That too.
Like if Josh Allen would end up with the Chiefs, how many rings would he have right now?
Yeah. I mean, if Mahomes went to the Bears, because the whole Trubisky thing, everybody, that's another one, or the Bills or whatever it is.
Or he in the back of the mannequin in Cleveland?
It's another good one, I guess, in terms of, I don't know if it changes much in terms of his status other than the guy's a for sure Hall of Famers. Well, what if Barry Bonds doesn't use steroids? Well, the guy was a Hall of Famer, period, anyways.
If Barry Bonds doesn't use steroids, he's still the best player to ever touch a baseball bat.
I was going to say, he's still one of the best players of all time. It's just he's got the validation.
He's never admitted that.
Well, of course not. Is Barry Bonds ever going to admit that he used steroids?
No, he shouldn't, because half the pitchers want it too. It's when baseball didn't care.
Barry Bonds is the best player to ever play the game of baseball. I'm sorry. Yes. Sorry. Guy finished top 5 in the MVP 6 times in his first 9 seasons. He
Not
won
going to
3
get
of
any
them.
arguments here, Logan.
Yep, totally agree.
Must watch guy. Coming up next, though, we will get to some of that Tom Brady stuff. But first, what's trending?
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter. or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Cosentino's food stores are celebrating 77 years of serving Kansas City. Come in today for incredible anniversary savings across the store. You'll find some of the hottest prices of the year, now through May 20th only. From fresh produce to family favorites, don't miss the unbeatable prices at every Cosentino's location. For 77 years, it's been our family's honor to serve yours, and we're just getting started.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
Underdog just became one of the best places to make entries during playoff basketball. While they score buckets, you could score cash over on Underdog. It's one of the leading places to make all your sports selections, and you can play it in your state, Missouri or Kansas. Millions of fans have already won billions making plays on Underdog. Why not be next? Their app has over 100,000 5-star reviews and millions of players. Look, just download the app, choose whether a player will go higher or lower than their stats, assists, points, rebounds, and then make your selections. Playing on Underdog is a layup. Once your entry feels good, you can play with as little as $1, and if you get everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAPP. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Good credit, bad credit, no credit. Rawhide Harley's accepting all credit applications. Bank reps on speed dial to help get you approved. Bankruptcy, divorce, even repos. Let Rawhide Harley Davidson get you financed on a new Harley today. Visit rawhideharley.com.
On approved credit.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the GPS directions first, before driving to the mall.
Turn right at the light. In 1,000 miles, you will reach Montreal.
Not Montreal, the mall.
Recalculating. 6,000 miles to Nepal.
No, the mall.
Checking first is smart.
Recalculating.
So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Find mom's best gift at Target. Now through Mother's Day, get up to 40% off gifts for her. Discover trendy apparel and swimwear that'll elevate any wardrobe. Jewelry that'll make her smile shine brighter, and even chocolate that'll turn any moment into something sweeter. There are endless options to choose from to show her she's the best. Hurry! Save 20 to 40% on select apparel, jewelry, chocolates, and more this Mother's Day only at Target. Restrictions apply.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
Yes. What's trending or what will be trending after the Royals play the White Sox again? And we're going to hang around for the ninth inning to see if any disaster happens for Chicago like last night. But that was an epic ninth inning. If you turned the game off and you went to bed, you're hearing about it today, and you didn't get to see the beautiful, beautiful defense of the Chicago White Sox, you missed out.
Poor guy. Took it right off the dome piece, just right off the skull.
It's like a Jose Canseco moment.
It was. At least in his case, it wasn't a off the dome and into the bleachers for a home run, but
he didn't know where it was.
God, it's a tough one. Tough one for that guy. What else is trending? Vinny Pasquantino has announced that he will be joining Team Italy for the World Baseball Classic coming up here in a couple of years.
Yeah, his second time he was on it the first time around, and Mark DeRosa, they announced a couple weeks ago he's going to be the manager again. He's the Bobby Witt. He loves Bobby Witt Jr., man. He is always talking Bobby on MLB Network. George Pickens, if you woke up this morning, that was kind of the first deal. Rarely do deals happen overnight like that, which really happened early in the morning because Bob and Dusty were able to basically lead with that story about George Pickens going from Pittsburgh to Dallas, and the Chiefs do play the Cowboys this year, so they will get a shot at playing Pickens this year.
They will. I think it's an interesting move for the Cowboys. It gives Dak Prescott another piece, and it's sort of the first real splash move that we've seen from Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys in, I don't know, the last decade. Kind of surprised by this move a little bit, but good to see Jerry Jones breaking out something. Not necessarily his pocketbook, because Pickens is still on a rookie deal, but at least he's trying something to get something going there in Dallas, because they've been so stale and so stagnant.
So we're seeing.
We'll see. I don't think it makes the Cowboys a contenders by any stretch, and they're not better than the Eagles or the Commanders. They're still probably the third best team in that division, but that might be enough to put them in a wild card situation and make something happen in January.
And also, guess what's on Logan's TV tonight? Obviously, the Royals will be, and also Knicks versus Celtics. The Celtics, of course, blew that the game one, game two. New York leads the series, but the Knicks and Celtics at 6, followed by the Nuggets and Thunder as far as the NBA is concerned.
Got to get it done tonight if you're Boston. You're a 10.5-point favorite. You lost game one at home. You got to win game two. You can't go down 2-0 in a series to a Knicks team that is pretty talented and expect to win this series. You get a game or two here. I have no problem with you going and losing game 3 as long as you win game 2, because I don't see the Knicks being able to beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. I mean, they're going to get worn out. We know how Tom Thibodeau coaches. It's going to be 45 to 40. Mikal Bridges played 51 minutes in game 1. Tom Thibodeau works his guys to the bone. You were talking about biggest what-ifs. I'll never forgive Tom Thibodeau for what he did to my boy Derrick Rose. The number of minutes that man was forced to play was just astronomical. So for Boston, you got to get it done tonight. If you're still not shooting the ball well from the perimeter, work the ball inside. You've got a guy in Kristaps Porzingis who can score on the interior. Al Horford can do those things. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are so good in dribble drive. Work the ball inside if you're not shooting it well from the perimeter, which I know goes against everything that Joe Mazzulla stands for. And Denver got a huge win in game 1 over Oklahoma City. I don't think that stands either. This Thunder team is far too talented. Nobody knows who he's even coaching the Denver Nuggets right now. I think it's Nikola Jokic, to be honest. The Thunder and Celtics, I think, both get wins tonight. I don't know. I'd say Boston might even cover game 2 tonight against New York. I don't necessarily see that being the case with Oklahoma City.
And as far as the NHL, the Panthers, Maple Leafs, the Panthers last year's Stanley Cup champions, find themselves down 1-0 in the series to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Stars and the Jets start their series tonight. Both those teams won in Game 7s. The Stars over Drew Nixon's Colorado Avalanche. And, of course, the Jets beat my Blues in overtime. They tied the game up with 1.6 seconds left in that game. It's not over till it's over, Logan. Never over till it's over.
Not until the fat lady sings.
Ask the White Sox that serious question. Anyway. Oof. That's what's trending for today. Also, what's trending, and I found this interesting, Tom Brady was speaking on a podcast, and he was talking about Shedeur Sanders. He's been mentoring him kind of in the offseason, working out with him a little bit, and, of course, Tom Brady's minority owner in the Raiders. And the thought was that Tom Brady would be part of the evaluation process when it came to what the Raiders did. And you would think that being Tom Brady, you would get his input on quarterbacks. That seems to be very interesting. But Shedeur Sanders slid. Tom Brady's like, hey, man, don't worry about it. I went to the 6th round. But as to Brady's claims from Pro Football Talk that he wasn't part of the evaluation process, many will not be buying what Tom Brady's saying that he's not part of that evaluation process. I find it extremely difficult to believe that he wouldn't have been part of that evaluation process with Shedeur Sanders as far as should the Raiders throw a dart and bring in Shedeur, because that was one of the areas thought maybe Shedeur could end up.
I don't think it's implausible for him to not have been. And again, if you read over the article, he was on Logan Paul's podcast, I guess. I don't know why you would waste his time doing that, but he said that he wasn't a part of any evaluation process. That's not
BS on that.
That's not to say that Brady didn't come into the room and be like, "Hey, if Shedeur Sanders is there, why don't we take him?" But I don't know. Brady seems like the sort of guy that. And it's so hard. I mean, we've seen it over and over again, right? With guys that, like, look at Michael Jordan. Had this outstanding career, best player on the floor, did all these things, buys ownership in the Charlotte Hornets, and they have sucked for 25 years, 20-plus years, since he bought the majority ownership stake in that organization and has since sold it off and is still now a minority owner. Sometimes great players aren't great evaluators of talent. That's why we see guys who are role players, middle-of-the-pack players, become excellent head coaches. That's why Phil Jackson...
managers in baseball, backup catchers.
Exactly. That's why Dusty Baker's a great coach, a great manager. That's why Phil Jackson was a phenomenal head coach. That's why, Steve Kerr has been as good as he's been in his career. It's never... Very rarely do you see a guy who was a multi-time MVP, superstar player come in and be extremely beneficial, because it's hard for them to evaluate guys who are less talented than they were. And I feel like Tom Brady is self-aware enough to maybe recognize that trend and take a step back. He's newer to the organization as well. And I know that he's not necessarily his dad, but he's his father's child. I'm sure Mark Davis is extremely hard-headed in a lot of respect, based off who his father was.
Tom Brady would turn this organization around. Spytek is their GM, right? So he said this about Tom Brady. They drafted Cam Miller. He's from North Dakota State, FCS quarterback. And this is what Spytek said directly, what Brady told him. He says he liked the way he threw it, his technique, throwing from the ground up, and his motion. Spytek said of Brady's assessment of Miller. They ended up drafting him in the 6th round. So evidently he was instrumental in that, but I'm to believe that he wasn't with Shedeur, and he's just trying to keep a good relationship with him, because you can't have both ways, Tom.
Well, they took 2 quarterbacks, actually, because they took Tommy Mellott from Montana State.
But he'll be playing wide receiver.
More than likely.
Different stuff. He ran a 4.39, has a 41-inch vertical. He's going to do other things besides quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know.
He thinks he might be an Edelman.
I don't know. This situation, I'm not going to outright say that Tom Brady is lying, because I lean towards the fact that he's probably telling the truth here. There's a lot of other circumstances. Yeah, you would obviously look at, okay, it's the best quarterback, greatest player ever, according to most, right? As of now. Why wouldn't you ask for his input? Why wouldn't you allow him to be involved in the evaluation
the
process?
Team I owned, I would 100% ask Tom what he thought.
I would
Being
too.
a quarterback, yeah.
I would too.
It just makes sense.
I don't know. I think Brady's still trying to get his feet wet here. This is a situation he's never been in before, right? And
no, he's having his cake and eating it too, because he's still been part of being the broadcast team and having to deal with NFL teams, which is a conflict of interest.
Yeah, maybe that plays a factor in it as well.
But he can't go watch the practices. We know that.
Maybe he can't be a part of the evaluation process because it, seeps into what he does with Fox.
Supposedly, though, that's why he was asked to be minority owner.
Yeah,
was for his input on a team. But you're right about the great ones don't always make great coaches or managers. You would expect it, but you don't often see it.
There's a lot more misses with big time guys like that than there are hit. I mean,
Because
Isaiah
it comes so easy to certain players, like George Brett being hitting coach. I mean,
Yeah.
George Brett's one of the best hitters I've ever seen.
Isaiah Thomas and Kevin McHale both retired and became general managers, and both of them were bad.
Larry Bird was actually good.
Larry was good. Larry got surrounded by a great team, right? When he arrived in Indiana, that team already had Reggie Miller and Jalen Rose and great players to be surrounded by, where it was sort of like, hey, here's the horse. Try not to drive it off the track. And they were good. They never quite got over the hump. You typically see guys who were role players who understand greatness with great players, but they understand the value of role players as well, and they can elevate people. That's why Andy Reid is so good. That's why Bill Belichick was so good. It's because they could evaluate superstars, but they could also evaluate those under-the-radar guys, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes them special. And it's harder for superstars to evaluate guys who are, in their eyes, whether subconsciously or consciously, lesser than them in terms of talent and athletic ability.
I'm surprised we've never seen Peyton Manning in a front office. I always thought that at this point he would be. Instead of the media route and doing, because like I look at Patrick Mahomes, everything comes so easy to him, but he's also a guy that grinded his way to the top. It wasn't just handed to Patrick. And he understands the game so well. He even comes out with his own draft board, by the way. He tries to sell the Chiefs on who he would have taken. I am curious how that would work out, because when you think about great minds that understand football and know all about it, like I'd be tough. Front office, you name it, he can do whatever he wants. He's going to have money and do whatever he wants. But Patrick Mahomes coaching, man, I'd love to see it.
It would be interesting. I don't know if that's necessarily the plan for Mahomes. All right, we hear him talk so
Ownership
much
sounds
about
more like the plan.
Yes, and he talks a lot about just wanting to be a dad at some point, right? And being an NFL player and being a dad, you don't have a lot of free time. And then if to catapult that into coaching or front office work, you still don't have any free time. And so he's going to need something to occupy himself. I'm sure that's where ownership becomes a factor, or if he decides he wants to go into broadcasting, which I haven't heard him express a ton of interest in. I don't know. I don't necessarily see Mahomes going the coaching route, because I think he wants to focus on things beyond the game of football at a certain point.
More like ownership type, because he likes
Yeah.
to, you know,
Yeah, he's already a minority owner in the Royals. He's got the current thing going with Brittany and
Alpine team in F1.
Yeah.
He seems like the ownership. By the way, the text line says John Elway was garbage in the front office, but an awesome player. That's a good one. I will say he made one move. One move that ended up working out for him.
Brought Peyton Manning.
It was bringing Peyton Manning, because the Chiefs, there was some interest in Peyton Manning and the Chiefs. They'd said as much during the whole process. There was some interest there, but because it was John Elway, hey, do you want to come play for me?
He also drafted Von Miller.
But Peyton Manning would be interesting to see him in the front office.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like Peyton Manning's vibe. I mean, Peyton is doing exactly what Peyton Manning should be, right? If you were to just like look at a picture of Peyton Manning and not know anything about him, you would think he is the most vanilla, like mundane human being. And then you watch the guy. I mean, of course, one of my all-time favorites is going back and watching his SNL when he hosted SNL.
That might have been the
skits
best athlete I've ever seen on SNL.
He was
United Way
so
commercial he
good.
did.
He was so good on that. And him and Eli and the Manning cast and what they do and, you know, the Peyton's places, that's him. Because the personality that Peyton Manning exhibits is pretty extraordinary. And the front office just feels like he's confined in a lot of respects. And I just don't think that's
But
Peyton.
start watching the Manning cast, it's about talking about the how and why. I mean, when they break down, I know they're doing the interviews during the process. I actually think that takes away from it, to be honest with you. Because whenever he's talking about the game and what he would do and what he sees when he's looking at defense, that stuff's pretty advanced when he talks about that. You're like, whoa,
I think
maybe
it helps us learn the game a little bit.
It does. I think he's very good at that. The interviews are fine, whatever, but I think it'd be better without him, actually.
I think that's more of like the entertainment thing, because I think them doing like the alt cast of just like sicko sort of stuff where it's like, hey, this like breaking down individual plays, that's for a certain segment of people. Like the whole Brady, the Belichick Peyton thing where they're breaking down like film. That's really interesting, but on like a live broadcast, I get why they have the interviews and stuff. But I think I love whenever I watch Monday Night Football, if it's not like, if it's the Bengals playing or the Chiefs playing, I tend to just watch the normal broadcast. But if it's anybody else randomly on a Monday night, I'll turn on the Manning cast and just to see what Peyton has to say about it, because you'll learn random stuff that's like, this is really cool. Like you feel like you can bring something to the table in a conversation of, oh, hey, Peyton was explaining that on Monday night. It makes sense now that I'm watching this game on Thursday. They're doing something similar to what Peyton was saying. Like you learn a little bit about the game, which I think people can appreciate.
What'd you think of Belichick's role in the media? I was actually surprised. I thought he was actually, now these interviews he's doing is a little weird, the ones he's doing lately, but when he was actually in the media and when he was on the NFL, recap show with Ocho and Ryan Clark and Long and all that, I thought he did pretty well. I actually thought he would, and went on the Manning cast and I thought he actually, surprisingly, he had a good year in the media, in my opinion.
I hated it.
Oh, you didn't like it?
I hated it because it made me like Bill Belichick a little bit.
Okay.
I couldn't stand it.
I see what you did there.
I couldn't stand the
Very human.
I despised this man for so long.
Now he's out dating 24-year-olds.
And then and that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah.
I saw that man get out in the media and become himself, right? He was so constricted and
now he's
confined,
back to being Bill, though.
and what the Patriots way was, and keeping up this image and doing these things. I don't know. Watching him go out and exhibit a personality finally.
I think that's the same way. So my mom, I'm from Indianapolis, and my mom is a Colts fan, and she hates Tom Brady. Has always hated Tom Brady. And whenever I joke with her, I was like, "Hey, are you going to watch the game?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't like watching the Fox games though because." And I was like, "Why is that? It's going to be a good game." She goes, "Yeah, because Tom Brady's broadcasting and he's really good at it, and I enjoy him talking, and he's like a normal dude, and I don't know how I feel about that because I've hated this man for so long because he's just destroyed my team for years and years on end."
Did she like Andrew Luck?
Oh, she loved Andrew Luck. I thought that at one point I had the hot take that he was the most overrated quarterback in the history of football. Back when I was in college. Some of that was to make my friends mad, but I did firmly believe, so much so, again, as I said, I was cheering for the Chiefs in that playoff game. I was like, oh, this is great. Andrew Luck is messing around.
Why'd you have to bring up that playoff game?
Well, I mean, it's part of the story. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
I didn't mean to throw shade at the Chiefs.
We've somehow brought up the Titans playoff debacle.
That was Bink.
With the Marcus Mariota self-catch touchdown.
Comeback.
And now we're talking about the worst. Is it still the worst collapse? Like the worst collapse in playoff history
that I've witnessed? Oh,
the Falcons. Patriots Super Bowl 23. I think takes the cake on that.
Because the Super Bowl, yes. I still think that the Chiefs, when they came back against the Texans, it wasn't necessarily because it was the comeback. It was how quickly it happened.
Second largest. They were down 28.
What was the other one?
The most was the Buffalo Bills in 1993.
Yeah, the Oilers.
Yes, they came back from down 32 points to win. And
was that an AFC title game?
Yes, I believe it was.
That's a sad way to go out. If you're Houston, that would have been. I mean, obviously the Bills didn't win that Super Bowl, but you're up 32 points in an AFC title game. All is good. You think you're going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's a tough one, dude. And the best part is that speaking of the Indianapolis Colts, Frank Reich.
Wow,
was the
QB of the Bills?
Yeah, he led the Bills to that victory because Jim Kelly had gone down with a knee injury.
Oh, that's tough.
The Bengals Chiefs remains the largest AFC title game comeback, Drew.
Wait, I thought that Logan just said it was 32 points for the Bills.
No, AFC title game. AFC title game.
Yeah, sorry, I thought it was a title game. It was a wild card game.
Okay,
so that's different.
Still, but yeah, when the Bengals were down 21-3.
The largest comeback in history wasn't 18. During. It was that sent a team to the playoffs. The Vikings. Remember the 33-point comeback they had against the Colts.
I don't know if there's been a play that I was more nervous on, dead serious. Other than the Super Bowl and the final play, than that Chiefs game at halftime, where I was like, man, if they win this, if they get this, it's over. And sure enough, Eli Apple of all people comes up with the stop, and then Patrick Mahomes didn't have a great half, and everything happened how it happened.
Eli Apple is buns.
Oh yes, yes.
The quiet assassin.
Remember his mom
Quiet?
talking for him in the beginning?
Nobody in that Bengals secondary has ever been quiet.
He was the quiet role player, I think, is what Eli Apple was in that regard.
Just yapping, dude. Somebody in the text line just said that they went to that Titans playoff game the day after getting their gallbladder removed.
That's stepping up.
Yeah. I sent a text back.
Yeah,
I said, that's the literal definition of adding insult to injury.
I was going to say, that is brutal. Like, you're right, Bink. Stepping up, 100%. But, I mean, to have that happen right after